Hey, Tiff. Hop on up in here. Buck, let's go. Get on up in here. Let's bullshit.
Almost didn't come up here. You just look pissed.
Well, I'm aggravated. My load was supposed to be done, and I'm sitting here for until probably about, well, the next 4 hours waiting on it to get done, and then I got to shoot over to Cleveland.
Oh, love that.
Yeah. And
Oh,
then I'm going to get probably about 4 or 5 hours of sleep, have to get up and unload.
oh shit.
Yep.
Oh, no, thank you. No, thank you. Oh,
Nah, I wish I could sit in an office and have a 9 to 5, but that don't work.
shit, dude. I wish mine was more of a 9 to 5. I'm basically working damn near 12 hours a day. Granted, I am sitting at home where I'm traveling, but not near as much as
Right.
you.
Tony the Tiger, come on up, bud.
So I won that raffle twice, huh?
Yeah, we drew your name on it, and we remembered you said just draw again. So next one we drew was Matt. Well, we being us, we can't take and win it. So we
Right.
drew it again, and it was you, and we were all laughing like, "What are we gonna do with this?" So we drew it again, and I forget who it was that won, but it was somebody that actually deserved it real well. And not saying you didn't, but
Well, no, I didn't
you
want
kept
it.
telling us to put it back.
Right. Yeah, I didn't want that. I donated that money for a reason.
Right, right.
But that's awesome. I'm glad someone won that needed it.
Yeah. Yeah, but it was a lot of good times there. I enjoyed it.
My goodness.
Anybody that's in here wants to come on up, come on up.
So what are you getting loaded with right now?
Uh Propellant aerosol?
Gotcha. You're not getting it from like iGas, are you?
No, no. A little company called Diversified out here by just south of Chicago.
I'm uh I'm gonna reach out to you to ask you some of the companies that you stop at because there's a company called iGas. It's the largest Freon manufacturer in the U.S.
Oh, we don't do Freon.
No, but what I'm doing is, like I told you, I'm reaching out to like shippers because those are the best ways into trucking companies. We can actually provide
Right.
value to everybody. So that's just kind of what I'm focusing on right now, and I think that'd be awesome if you give me some ideas of some shippers.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'll help you out.
Appreciate that. Appreciate it.
Morning, Gary.
I'm starving.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing, but I don't have a whole lot in here to eat. I didn't get a chance to stock up.
You gotta DoorDash it.
I paid $30 for a $5 cheeseburger.
Heck yeah. Bet you that'll be the best damn cheeseburger you've ever tasted, though, for $35.
And even if it's not, I'm gonna make sure it is.
Right. Oh, man. Morning, Gary. Oh, goodness gravy. I just need some deals to land. Daddy needs a new truck. Oh, my.
I was not happy when I got here, and they're like, "Oh, we haven't even started it yet." I'm like, "You guys realize I got a 6-hour drive out there, and it delivers at 6 o'clock in the morning."
Oh shit! And the later you are, the earlier you have to wake up.
Yeah.
That's very unfortunate.
JJ, come on up here.
Oh shit! JJ's here.
Different JJ.
Oh, I was like, all right, here we go.
No, not that one, not that one.
He's a freaking goofball.
He's good for good times.
Oh, he is. When does shit, I forgot his name. For FOPT when he goes live.
Who's that?
How did I forget his name? Oh my gosh.
A little help, and I might be able to get it.
His voice was going out.
Oh, Mike?
Yes, thank you.
So,
When does he go live?
Cupcake doesn't go live under his own anymore.
Right.
He actually got rid of his personal account.
Right.
We're not doing a whole lot with the TikTok account for a little bit.
Gotcha.
Like we'll post videos up. This weekend coming, being Easter weekend, we're all going to spend it with our families, of course.
Right.
But the following weekend, I might hop up there. I think he got rid of social media off his phone altogether.
How the hell is he supposed to go live?
Well,
Kind of defeats
just-
the purpose.
he just gets tired of it.
Like, you can always uninstall it and then reinstall it.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna work on that, because I know when he does the FOPT live, a lot of people like to come in and stick around. When I do it, they see my gorgeous face and then they bounce out.
And how's that make
So-
you feel?
We are not laying on a couch.
Well, like, he's got a lot of recreational fucking creatures, too. You know,
Yeah,
as
I mean-
OG Cupcake would talk about.
It is. It is. Yeah.
I'm on my way to Delaware to get my damn trailer washed. And I gotta go to Riverside, New Jersey, and hope I don't take out another deer to go pick up cocoa butter.
Hey, you take out a deer, throw it in the bed of the trailer, and bring it up to Cedar Rapids, Iowa. I want some deer jerky.
Shit, if I take
Yeah, I
out
was
a
always-
deer, I better total my truck.
I'll pay $3 a mile.
No, we need 5.
Deer.
Shit, it ain't hazmat, brother. What are you talking about? You're getting 3.
Hey, this hazmat. What are you talking about?
No,
Gotta
carcasses
carry
ain't
my fucking
hazmat.
carcass. I gotta
Well, if
carry
I'm paying
blood across
5,
state
Hey,
lines.
Rocky.
If I'm paying 5, you better be refrigerating it on the way over here.
That motherfucker will be stuffed with ice, you best believe.
Rocky.
What y'all up to today? Hey Buck, I got your text earlier. I just been busy, just got back to the house and gonna get a couple things done here, but I was gonna call you or message you back tonight, but appreciate you being there, man.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I figure you just decided to hate me after that, and I was like, all right, happens.
No, I seen it. I was driving. I've been running all over. Had to run the DMV this morning and in there for 2 hours and just trying to catch back up and pile of shit going on. So you know how it is when you leave for a little bit.
Oh yeah.
Oh, come on, you ain't got to lie to us. You were
Yeah,
over
we
there
got-
in McCowan's live.
I did go in there. I flipped through a little bit ago when I was actually at the DMV, and I made a comment and then left. I couldn't take any more of it. That was probably an hour ago, though.
Yeah, I saw he was
Yeah.
live, and I decided to hop off. I was like, I'm not doing that. Like, I don't even
Yeah.
know all the drama. just know it's
I wasn't
drama.
on it. I wasn't on it though. I made a comment,
Right.
and then
Yeah,
I saw he was live, and I was like, I'm not going in there.
And then I left. Yeah, I was standing there over there waiting, and I was scrolling through and had listening to earbud, and I don't know how he's popping up on mine. I thought I had him blocked away from mine, so I didn't have to hear that mess. And the first thing I heard when it flipped up was Landstar. All they are is leasing equipment and taking 60% from people and 40%. And I was like, Landstar, don't lease equipment, buddy. And I left.
Yeah.
So what are y'all up to today?
Not a whole lot. Figured I'd hop on here and kill some time. I got to sit here for the next about 4 hours, wait on them to get my load done.
And I'm just sitting here trying to land some damn deals so that way the next time I come down, Rocky doesn't have to squat into my car and I have a truck. Look, it was the funniest thing because Rocky gets into the car. I was like, "Yeah, this car's pretty small. Sorry." Just apologizing.
Yeah. Well, you know, when you drive truck all the time, pickup trucks and all, easy in and out and all that, and you go get into a car and you got to duck your head and scrunch over, turn yourself into a ball to get in the seat. Yeah.
For context, I drive a 4-door Dodge Charger, and it is the smallest damn thing ever.
That ain't small. What are you talking about?
I used to have one.
You want to know what the smallest car ever? Try getting in the fucking back of a Nissan 240Z. The old
How tall are you?
Right.
I'm 5'8", but the two guys were driving it were 6'7" and 6'8".
I say I'm
my ass
6'7".
in the back.
It was rough.
Look, JJ, I went standing next to Buck over the weekend just so I could feel short, and I'm 6'2".
Oh my god.
Yeah. Yeah, Buck's tall. I'm like 6'1.5" or so, but he's tall.
Yeah, it's so funny when I meet people for the first time. They're like, "Oh shit," and I was like, "Yeah."
Yeah.
Like, remember that shit you were talking? Yeah.
Yeah, I get that
I was
too.
just angry that day, man. I just had a bad day, and was like, it's fine. Don't worry about it.
Come on up, Laura. Let's get the party started now that we got you here.
But we had a good.
Parties always started with Laura.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we had a good show. It was fun. We sucked driving home yesterday, but we got home about 10:30, I guess. Well, it was a good show for us.
I left around noon and got back around 6:40.
Oh, you did pretty good then.
Oh heck yeah, man! I was hauling ass. I
Yeah.
was going the speed of my Jesus.
So, Laura, how much are you willing to give me for my new 359?
Nothing,
$20.
because they don't manufacture 359s anymore. So there you go, buddy.
It'll be my new to me. So, you know, how much you willing to pay me for my new to me 359?
How much you
The
got in your bank
10,000.
account?
I'll give you the I'll give you the $10,000 that you're gonna give to me after you keep the truck, and then I'll give you the 10,000 back for the truck.
Hey, Matt. Matt, when's your Cascadia going to be fixed?
They're dropping the motor in now. I should probably have it in my yard probably 2 weeks.
Good. Sam needs to rent it.
He's gonna need it, huh?
Mr. G is going to need it. Because the doctor's like, well, you can drive a car, but pushing in the clutch after knee replacement's not going to work well. And I said, ooh, I can rent you an automatic.
There you go. There you go.
Oh.
The bad thing, Laura, is he'll drive one for a few weeks or a month, the automated, and then he's going to be like, the hell with that shifting gears. I'm getting older. I had my days of that stuff.
You think so, Rocky?
Oh, that's the way I
Audrey,
was.
Get up here.
I was like, the hell with that after driving one around a bit and all. I'm like, man, why didn't I get one of these years ago?
The issue is going to be that those new automatic trucks don't often have enough power. They're gutless.
Well, how much weight are you guys pulling?
Well, it depends. I mean, most of my loads are light, but we'll go up to about 32,000 pounds.
Okay, because there's a bunch out there now. They do make a spec that these heavy haul guys are using that has a 14 speed automated in it, and it's got a deep reduction gear to get it out of the hole and get it going with like 160, 180,000 pounds, and then it goes up into the first. You know, it's got a deep reduction reverse also, and man, they're making these things now where you can do real heavy haul with them.
Well, we would have to test drive one and see how it does in pulling Wolf Creek or I-70, and then we'd have to let you know.
Yeah, see how they do and all, but it's all in the spec of the truck and what they set the horsepower, torque at, and what transmission is in it. It's all in the spec of the truck, and the biggest problem, to be honest with you, is most dealerships, the stuff they have on the floor, on the ground out there, they're not spec'd right, and they take a general spec that they use, the salesman thinks is going to be good for every application, and they're not.
Yeah, well, and we have X15s with that are 565s, and they do pretty good for what we do, but you can control your RPMs better when you have a manual,
Yeah. Well, and most of the automateds, you can put it in manual and make it hold a gear and drop a gear and stuff now.
Nice.
A lot of your company trucks, they don't give the manual option because they don't want the drivers screwing things up. So, but it is able to be added on to them, and you can get one with the manual option.
If you need a driver that can haul some real weight, call me. I got a Dodge Charger.
Right.
So you and Sam should have talked because he had a Hellcat.
Hey, nobody's trying to brag in here, all right? Like, don't try to humble me.
We got rid of them because everybody and their brother had the car, and it was like we got rid of both of them. We had two of them, Buck.
Well, yeah, and also, I mean, everybody and their mom wants to steal them if they're in the wrong area.
Yep.
Really?
Yeah, it's Dodge Chargers. The reason why they're so expensive isn't because of the horsepower; it's because they're one of the most stolen vehicles in the U.S.
And they charge you a gas guzzler tax. Did you know that?
Doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
So did everybody get home safely and everything?
Oh yeah.
Yes,
I'm sitting at
on my way home.
I'm sitting at the kitchen table.
I'm using this TikTok as a little bit of a break in my chaos for today because I feel like I've been gone out of this office for a freaking month with everything going on.
Yeah.
I was sitting here putting all these business cards and whatnot together.
At least you didn't have to go to jail Sunday morning there, Laura. I thought I was going to my own funeral that afternoon, but...
Hey, listen, Audrey's going to help me through that if that indeed was to happen.
On your first bail call, we're all in big trouble if that's the case.
I have you on speed dial, Miss Audrey, because I figured you were the one person that would totally back me on the reason I had to wear orange.
I'm down. I don't look good in stripes, but orange, I can make orange work.
I look like a pumpkin, but we're not going to talk about that. And we're really not going to talk about me looking like a pumpkin after all the garbage I ate this last weekend. But
I was actually surprised. I didn't gain a pound all weekend long. I was happy with that.
What? You're breaking up real bad. I can't understand what you're saying.
You already know that's going to happen. I got to watch my weight. Girls always like, I got to watch my weight. This is nothing against either one of you guys, okay? Either one of you girls.
I need to drop another 10 pounds, and hopefully I can get off these meds.
My wife says it to me daily. Babe, I need to lose weight. I'm like, all right, I buy her one of those treadmills, right, that you have at the house. I buy her one of those. She uses it for like 2 weeks. Guess what? It's still sitting at the house. I'm like, I'm supposed to use it every day, babe. Like, I'm on her set of weight. I'm like, you gotta use these every day.
Have Sarah come up. Looks like she's got some tea to spill.
I was gonna say she can come on up. I'm just waiting on her to.
Oh, we're a hot topic in McCowan comments, huh? Oh, interesting.
Yeah, well, I was
Hey.
over there
What's
for a
new?
moment. I didn't hop in. I was just listening.
You know, again about wearing orange. I don't want to have to choose violence before noon this morning, but I will if I have to.
See, that's why
Hey.
you would be my first call.
Audrey,
You know,
Oh,
it's afternoon. It's afternoon here, so you know that counts, right?
There you go, Rocky. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Is that like you can't drink before 5 or something?
Well, that just
5
makes all
o'clock.
they throw around all of these terms like alcoholic or premeditated. We just don't want to have to deal with that.
Hey, it's 5
dang.
o'clock somewhere in the world. It's 5 o'clock. It's always 5 o'clock.
You got to prove something's premeditated. Like, you actually got to be in my brain to prove that I thought about doing something. And good luck with that.
Well, I just sent Dave an email and used lots of big words that were more than 3 syllables, so maybe that's why he's angry with me this morning.
He won't be able to read. He won't be able to read it then.
I didn't include the color. I did not include the color by number version. So yeah,
Oh,
unfortunately.
listen,
So did you do
listen,
no or no? I want to know.
Y'all forget he's got ChatGPT. He'll break it down to Alabama speech before he can understand it.
Well, he said he keeps.
Change to Alabama Southern talk, and then he'll figure it out.
Well, he sent me the ICC stuff about railroads, and I'm like,
Oh,
okay.
jeez.
I said, and this is what I said. I threw out my disclaimer. I don't own a truck. I don't own a CDL. All the things, and I said, but even I know the difference between a Kenworth and a Burlington Northern Santa Fe engine. I'm just throwing that out there. Even though I'm dumb, even I know the difference between that. I'm just saying.
You got it. You got it.
Oh,
right there.
wow.
You shouldn't have to say nothing else. You already got him.
Jeez.
Oh, so now he's on.
Him and this ICC. Oh my word.
So is he
Does
on
he-
about
he-
trains now?
No idea. No
No,
idea
he
how
said-
racist that was.
He sent me a thing about broker transparency and the ICC that came from hell before I was born, and he wants to apply it to the trucking transparency thing, which I thought was really interesting because even that way back in the day, it was from the mid 70s. It even says in there that if that basically the overall gist of what I told him is I said, even in this document, it says that all parties would be eligible for transparency. So again, if you're going to say you want broker transparency, brokers could turn around and ask for the exact same transparency back for the carrier using the exact same rule that you're trying to push. So do you want to open Pandora's box? That's all I said.
Because
If you know, you know.
Once you show a profit as a carrier, then the broker's going to go and go, oh, well, I can raise my prices because they're showing a major profit. We can both. Oh, my word, this guy is just mental.
Well, and my thing was, too, is that, even from even a more basic standpoint than that, is that if you're going to open that door, if a broker says, well, I didn't like how you treated this customer, or I didn't like how you pulled into the dock, or you went too fast in the parking lot, I'm going to dock this, or I'm going to do that. I mean, you really want to get into that argument? Like, I just stop kicking into hornet's nest.
All you got to do is look at him and say,
I'm back.
all you got to do is look at him and say, hey, you want broker transparency? You know what? Lead by example. Let's see your books.
So they're calling you guys. Sophia's calling you guys a joke over there.
So,
You know what? Let everybody
It's
call
all
us
right.
whatever.
Well, here's the
I was
problem.
on
Sophia's mad at me because because when I told Sean to sit down and shut up last night, when he was literally lying to everybody about what the definition of infrastructure was and all of his crap that he was talking about, Sophia was pissed off at me about it and called Cisco and asked Cisco to tell me to behave myself, which that got her nowhere. And
She can be as angry. They can all be as angry as and think we're a joke. But you know, while we were at Matt's, I actually connected with one of the most infamous spokespeople from Canada for the truck drivers up there, and they're willing to work with the Federation. So, you know, not for nothing, but we just got the Canadian drivers. Turn around and there they are. I've got a whole table full of business cards that all want to work with the Federation that I've got to get emails out to between today and tomorrow. Not to mention that I physically, myself, Mike, physically met with ATU, which we've got some agreements there. And to boot that, you know, I actually met Delilah and her father, and they are excited to see what, you know, what comes of the Federation. So, you know, if we're such a joke, how is it that so many people have reached out and want to be a, you know, want to either work with or participate with the Federation in our ideas?
Right. No, I'm not. Yeah, I agree with you.
And that's like this morning, I was on the phone with a buddy of mine who, because of Dave, has got a very bad taste in his mouth for advocacy groups. And so he was kind of against us because of the whole advocacy term. And I had to sit there and explain to him that that's not what we're about. It's that whole, that Dave guy, he's on a whole nother level. He's
let's add in there, Sam. Let's add in there something, okay? And we can pat ourselves a little bit on the back. In fact, Rocky, thank you so much for your additional donation. But the FOPT, the entirety, its members, its people, the people that came to our booth, raised over $1,200 for the West Virginia Children's Home.
Yes, sir.
Has Dave done any of that?
I don't know that Dave's
yeah,
done anything.
Buck, you were asking me about that. Matt can explain it to you right now if you want it to. Hell, Laura can if you really want him to.
What's that?
I just wondered where it went because I wasn't sure. I just know I wanted to donate.
You can actually, if you want to, right now, listen, we raised $300 with the raffle that we did. Several of us stepped in and matched that. Laura Gavito and Gavito Trucking matched it. Rocky matched it. Myself and my company, Cruise and Blues, matched it. You know, you can still donate. All you got to do is send it over to the FOPT. Buck, if you're interested, I'll send you the link. Right now, we're just about $1,200 that we're putting together, and we should have it together by the end of the week, so that we can get a certified check put together. And
So,
you know, this is the first
I want
time.
to stop Matt. Just give me 1 second, please. You know, I'm so tired of people being like, well, I don't want to be a part about advocacy. But they don't understand that the advocacy in a wholesome group is give and take, and it's not in one lane of travel. Like, we're shifting lanes, we're moving around, we're moving in the industry, we're moving amongst the community, and that's exactly what I believe we should be doing. And we're not here to brag about, hey, we gave X amount of dollars here, but we're saying we're moving in the lane, and we're doing what we're saying we're doing.
That's the gist of it right there. This isn't about bragging rights. This is about the fact that when we say we're going to do something, we don't sit there and promise it. We just do it. You know, we said we were going to do this. We did it. The next time we do something, we're going to do it. That's the gist of the Federation. We're not selling you empty promises. We're actually doing it. We're putting in the work. We're leading by example. You know, everybody wants to talk poorly about the Federation. That's fine. Our books are wide open. Our agenda is wide open. If you take the time to sit down and shake Laura's hand, my hand, Sam's, anybody that's sitting at our booth, and sit down and take 5 minutes and listen to what we are actually trying to do and what the whole end agenda is, there's nothing that you can sit there and go, well, you know, I don't want to be a part of this. It's the negativity right now, and the fact, and it really boils down to this. We don't sell empty promises, we just do it. They're selling empty promises. That's all they're doing is selling everybody empty promises and feeding off the freaking emotion that comes with it.
Never mind. I'm not even going to get into that right now.
Hey, Matt.
We have
I wanted to
amazing...
sit down in the booth with you, but there wasn't no place for me to sit.
Yeah, I know.
There wasn't place for half of us to sit.
I know.
Rocky, we did have the benches, the bench seats out there in the front of the booth, and I would have sat there and talked to you now. I talked until I was blue in the face and hoarse half the time, but
right.
My story, when I talk to a truck driver, the next one can come in and they're getting the same thing. They're not getting anything different from me. They're not getting anything different from Sam. They're not getting anything different from Laura. Nothing that we say changes or alters.
Yeah,
it's
we didn't go from $5 a mile down to $4 now.
Oh, I think he's back up to 5.
Oh, okay. Well,
So what do you guys think about the interview that Vince did with Delilah's parents? I thought it was kind of cheesy personally,
I've seen worse. While I was there, when we were there meeting Delilah and her dad, I took more time talking to her dad than Delilah because everybody wanted pictures with Delilah. And I kind of squatted down and I smiled and I waved to her, but there were so many people that were taking pictures and and it made me feel sick to do that.
Yeah.
Vince, I saw the interview to see the fact that he didn't concentrate on her, but he concentrated on the dad and got the information. That's not a bad thing. That's a good thing.
Here's my thing about it, and here's where I agree with Cisco. He don't have a backbone, right? Is because he went over there. He had a chance to try to educate the parents on the difference between DACA and non-domicile and all that, right? But not once did he educate anybody on any of that. But yet he's seen Jorge yesterday on TikTok on live, and it's like, oh yeah, I'm in support of you guys and this and that. No, you're not, because you had an opportunity and a platform to educate.
Listen, I gotta say this. Vince is all heart. Vince is just all heart. He's doing everything he can, and he's admitted to it. He's only 6 months into being into this kind of position. So everything that he's doing, he's trying to utilize his heart, and he's doing well with it. The problem is, and he's learning as he goes. He admitted that. He admits it time and time again. He is learning as he goes. So, give Vince a little bit of space, let him learn. He's 6 months into any kind of advocacy. He's still got a lot to go. He's got he's figuring everything out. Right now, he's big smiles, all heart. Give Vince a little bit of a break and just watch how he grows. I'm telling you, Vince is going to be an unstoppable force once he puts heart and mind together.
I would go even a step further. I don't necessarily have an opinion on Vince's interview. I have more of an opinion on the fact that they were exploiting that family for political gain at those events,
yes,
and that just pisses me off more than anything. Is that should have never even been. This is not with all due respect, this is not a circus. This is not a whatever. And I thought that was whoever brought that family to Matt's, I have zero respect for, because that is not something that should be exploited. That literally, right, in my opinion, is incredibly tacky. I'm going to
be reaching out. I'm going to be reaching out to Delilah's dad and having a personal one-on-one conversation, because meeting him was an honor. His
Absolutely.
Daughter being there, his daughter being there and being a showpiece was. You're right. It was exploitation to the highest level. Sean Duffy used it. Several people used used his daughter, Delilah, which is an absolute sweetheart. If you see the before videos and now the after, it makes you sick that people are using her as a stepping stone. So I'll be reaching out to Delilah's dad and just making sure that his eyes are open to the people that he's putting around him. But... and that's why I concentrated when I talked to him. It was a full concentration on the dad. It was the dad I was interested in.
They would have gotten a lot further with things if they would have just showed up on their own and walked around.
You're
Instead of the whole being, everybody being like, oh, look, this is this, and we're standing by. No.
Well, you got Sean Duffy that's utilizing it. You got Smith, was it Smith Transport that's utilizing them?
Right.
They're all building off of this little girl, and that little girl, I just saw a comment and I agree. That family has been through more than enough, and they've got a long way to go. Now, the law that they're trying to fix and to try to get codified, I am 100% on board with the fact that they're trying to get the codification and an actually U.S. law, not a requirement through FMCSA, but an actual law, because that won't only work through the U.S., but that will give Canada a stepping stone as well to utilize the law and say, hey, listen, U.S. passed the law, we can pass it up here. Then we've got, we cut the border off where they can cross the border with its illegitimacy like they are. But with that being said, Delilah is an absolute sweetheart. I don't know if anybody's had an opportunity to actually wave at her or see that pretty girl smile because she's so happy. She's got a long ways to go, and she'll be in my prayers every day.
Even if Duffy wanted to sit there and do what he did, he could have done it without her there. Because like somebody said, she has been through hell already.
Yes.
To sit there and put her up on a stage is doing nothing but going, hey, here, look, feel sorry for her, and while you're at it, we're going to do this and because of her. No, you don't put a kid in that predicament.
It turned into a dog and pony show, unfortunately.
Exactly.
Which they do all the time, which is a political propaganda move that they do all the time. And it's not just in this industry. They do it in all of it. And it's one of the most gross and disgusting portions of dealing with that is that they do it all the time. And the behavior is tolerated. I mean, I saw Sean Duffy's comments and I'm like, well, this is why, I'm not a fan. Sorry. But because it's all about the political propaganda and tugging at heartstrings, and it's not really truly about the policy. JJ's absolutely right. That family has been through enough. Stop making them political propaganda.
Well, and you're absolutely right. We need to with military veterans through the past.
We need to support what they're doing, but not
100%
them into the and not leave them into the limelight anymore. Take them out of the limelight.
I have a question. I have one question for everybody. This became a lot about illegals instead of safety, and the reason why, and so. I'm just as pissed off as Audrey about like them utilizing this poor girl and her family because in 2 years nobody's going to remember her.
Right.
And it's not even her because she's not there. The capacity's not there, right? Because of this accident, and it is a horrible accident. Her family, her brothers and sisters, and her parents are always going to remember all this, and they're gonna be like, why wasn't this about safety? Because that's what even her dad, like if you listen to some of his interviews, he's talking about safety, and the whole safety thing went out of the window. It turned into an immigration issue, right? And then like Sean Duffy, and God bless his soul, he doesn't know his ass from his face because I don't think he understands what the law actually states, because he was asked some questions about the law, and he contradicted everything that the law states. And I made clips about it, and honestly, like, we're never going to get anywhere. But like, this whole thing was about safety, and then I look at data, and when I look at data, there's two things that I look at. I look at what insurance companies push for, and then I look at what companies are actually doing to hire. And the guys with the most money aren't the ones that are getting penalized, because most of the accidents are hires of under 1 year of experience. And who could hire those people? Who's responsible for hiring people under 1 year just based off of insurance requirements, because they have they have their own? Okay. So why aren't megas being penalized and put in a category, and why aren't their safety procedures? And I'm gonna give you one last thought. these megas have so much fucking money, so much money that they could hire the best FMCSA guy, the best safety guy in the world, and none of them are winning safety awards. And instead, they are the top most dangerous companies to work for, based off of accidents in the history of their accidents. And so, like, if this was about safety, why isn't nobody looking at their hiring practices and training practices? And why isn't nobody asking somebody to investigate that? And so,
well,
like,
JJ, we know, and I don't mean to cut you off, but yeah,
no,
just
go
to
ahead.
answer your
Go ahead,
question,
bro.
you know darn well as I do. In fact, the numbers are out there. I won't say who sent me some information, but I went and saw some information that you actually posted, JJ.
Yeah.
Where it's showing where the yearly, where yearly they're putting 5, 10, anywhere between $5 and $10 million in. They're lining pockets, these megas.
Yeah.
And you're seeing one of the biggest contributors to that is the ATA. They're lining pockets. They're dropping standards. They're lowering standards regularly. They're scooting behind regulations, under regulations. And you see this on a regular basis. You go look at FMCSA, pull it up. Something I did about 4 years ago. I did it again a couple of weeks ago. Pull it up and just run, show me the last 20 years of letters of exemption that were approved by FMCSA and go through that list. That list, 98%, without counting the lawyers, 98% of them are the mega carriers that have reduced or cut around corners through the FMCSA regulations. 98% of them are mega carriers.
I agree, and it's scary because, like, I shared one of the stories, which is like, my mother was hit by a driver, and I don't care about color of skin. I care about, like, how safe the roads are. And I'm going to be the biggest person that says you need to speak English in this. And this is me being Mexican, right? You need to speak English. The test needs to be in English, or stop signs are in English. I have nothing against that. Okay. But if we're looking for safety, then nobody could pay to get around that safety. And I don't believe in all of my research and all the data I work for Omega. I work for Trans Am Trucking, right? And let me tell you their hiring practices. And nothing against them, because that's how they do business, and that's how they're able to succeed, right? They would hire convicts straight out of prison that got their CDLs, and then they would hire people. They had really good deals where they would market to these training schools out of Iowa, out of Nebraska, and there's a couple of them in Kansas City. And then Swift went out and actually took over the name, and they gave them all the trailers to do all the training for, right? So they could actually start taking those drivers. And I remember where Trans Am lost that deal, and so they would put them in trucks. And this is my experience. They would put them in trucks, and they would have a trainer with them for 2 weeks to 45 days, depending on how well they did the 2 weeks, right? And then they would release them. They haven't even got any experience, like true experience. And then I went to a Comdata conference. This is like 4 years ago, and I was talking to the Swift gal that just does fuel cards. All she does is fuel cards, and she has an entire team of fuel cards, right? And I said, "What's your guys' like? How many fuel cards do you deactivate every week?" She said 1,000. So every week she has 1,000 new fucking guys coming in that are untrained, that don't understand trucking. And then yesterday, I don't know if you guys caught my live. There was a gentleman from the UK, which I thought was like, I'm glad that he jumped. I don't know how he jumped on, because he's not one of my followers, right? But he jumped on, and it was like by the grace of God. And there was another gentleman on there that works for the FBI, and I'm glad he was there, because he heard this guy talking, right? And he said in our country, right, England, we have a process of you actually driving a big rig, and the process is that you have to start with CDL, essentially, quote unquote, right? Then you go into like a Sprinter van, then you go into box truck, then you go into these. And then you go actually graduate. So you're learning how to drive these different machines, right? Until you actually get into the missile. because that's what a big truck is. That's what Sean Duffy said. It's a missile, right? So we put and I respect every one of you guys, because every day there's a missile that could explode, right? And so and there's a lot of safety there. Like in my opinion, there's a lot of people that do it unsafely, and I'm scared for you. But I bring the story about my mother, right? There's a gentleman that hit her, T-boned her, because he didn't pay attention to a stop sign. And to me, it didn't matter who hit her. It mattered that he wasn't paying attention, because it could have happened to anybody. Anybody could get distracted at any time. And I see that on the road, and I don't think we give our drivers and our people, not even our drivers, our people, the safe conditions to drive in, because our roads are shit. The way that we cut off trucks is shit. Like, people need to be penalized for cutting off trucks. They really need to be penalized for that. We should have some type of responsibility to take care of our professional drivers out there, and we have none, because we're not focused in on actually building that ecosystem. Everybody's like, oh, we have a driver shortage problem. No, we don't. We have a professional problem. And you guys push them out, and you guys want them out. You don't want the professional drivers, because if you did, you would pay them, and then you would give them the common courtesy to allow them to drive whenever they want, and they're not pressed against the clock to actually drive. And so you literally say, oh, I want professional drivers, but you literally put boundaries on these professional drivers, and then they get to a shipper and actually need to take a leak, right? And they treat them worse than a dog. And it's just like, what is our industry doing? But you have a guy out there that doesn't even have a CDL. You have, like, the ATA and OIDA, and if you like them, fuck them. And I'm going to tell you why. They don't even have a CDL holder in their groups. OIDA has one. ATA has none. And then the president there gets paid $1.98 million a year to make decisions, not for the small guy. He makes decisions for the big guy, because they're lining their pockets. And when people are paying attention, I made a funny video today, and I was laughing because they got one illegal out, right? And now they got one illegal in. The Swedish company obviously isn't a problem. But they said, Sean Duffy said, we want to make trucking great again for the American drivers. In his conference, he literally stated that he wants to make it great for the American driver. And everybody stood up. And here, the first thing I see is they bring in a Swedish autonomous truck into the Houston area, right? And so like, I look at these situations. I'm like, do you really care about the autonomous, or do you really care about the American driver? Because if you are, you're stealing from them. You're literally, Sean Duffy and his teams are stealing from the American driver.
Well, you're not wrong.
The problem was they were fast tracking CDLs on the agenda that there was a driver shortage. What they failed to do was send a very explicit, straightforward message saying, hey, we're willing to fix your driver shortage problem that you allegedly have by fast tracking. But you companies that are hiring these guys that are being fast tracked through with a CDL have to provide better training, more thorough training. It's your responsibility as the motor carrier to provide the specific and all-encompassing training from everything. When you go to a CDL school today, you learn the bare basics. Ask me how I know. Don't argue with me about it. That's exactly what they do. They teach you the bare basics for you to have a CDL. And then the intent is you go to a motor carrier who is going to provide you extensive training, and they don't do it. That's part of the problem.
The problem is that there are no requirements beyond for licensing for commercial vehicle drivers beyond the CDL, the ELDC that went into effect.
Well, there are specifics for you to be able to do for the theory and the behind the wheel, but listen, a lot of people can't apply that. And even you can give a human being the most extensive training and they're just not trainable. Sometimes you have dogs like that too. But that's the problem. They leave them in the system because they can pay them cheaper than somebody who does come with comprehension, common sense, and understands how dangerous those machines can be if they're not operated properly.
100%. It's
You're
this
not
this
you're not
indi-
wrong
this
about what you're saying.
this industry has a lot of issues, and they don't the issues aren't addressed.
I'll
Like they
piggyback.
The
I'll
the
piggyback that.
issues are
I'll
the
piggyback
issues
that really
are
quick. One other thing is that I'm with a major insurance company. And yes, they say we prefer to have 2 years experience and at least 23 years of age, but they cannot tell me no when I hire somebody. I just have to take it in the shorts if I don't do my job correctly as a motor carrier. So I can hire people that are 21 with 1 year or 6 months of experience, but as most of you have said, and I greatly appreciate the kudos, we do things differently here. You are on the truck training with the man that runs this business, whose name is on the side of that truck, until he feels like you can be cut loose. And then guess what? It's okay to come back and say, shoot, man, I need some more training. I don't understand load securement, or I don't understand this, or whatever. I send them to a brake class, whatever I need to send them to. But most carriers, I'd like to say most carriers, don't operate like we do here.
No, most insurance companies, especially like the major ones, like it's not truly the insurance companies that are making this deal, and I think that's where the separation kind of comes, right? Is because everybody thinks it's the insurance companies that are making these deals. It's not even them. There's a puppet master behind them as well, and they're the reinsurance carriers that actually sit here and look through the guidelines of what the insurance company's wanting to do. They'll turn around, make their tweaks, and they'll send it back to the insurance company and say, hey, this is what you're approved for. So, as far as if you want to hire someone that's less than 1 year, you could do that. Nobody can tell you no, because then we fall into legalities. But the insurance company will be the first one to drop you because now you're going outside their appetite. And they'll drop you.
But here's
30-day notice
the change we're all looking for that we want. And I have been saying this for 4 freaking years. The change that we want just takes people, guys. Everybody in this room, it doesn't matter who you are. I don't see everybody's face. You can't see mine. But this is where people, the amount of people that we have working together for the same common goal. No agendas, no nothing except to raise the bar of trucking. That's where we've got to make everything's else has got to be put aside. The bigger your numbers, everybody says, well, you need money to change laws. And I've heard Audrey talk about it, and I understand how politics works. I understand how Washington works. But the only way to combat ATA, the mega carriers, the amount of money that you see them putting out into pockets like this, that none of us, honestly, none of us can put together $5 million a year to outdo the American Trucking Association. They'll just raise the stakes. There's no way we can compete. The only way we can compete, and I've said this time and time again, is numbers. Put away the bullshit. Put away the division lines, which are all over this industry. There's division from race. There's division because of associations. It's time to put it all the frick aside and say, you know what? If we've got 2 million truck drivers, the only goal is to bring all 2 million voices together as one with no agendas but to raise the bar, to set the standard. And everybody says, well, it can't be done. It can be done with enough positive attitude and enough of us working together to do it. Buck, you've got a following. Trucking History, you've got a following. Audrey, you've got a following. Rocky's got a following. I've got a following. Sam's got a following. Everybody here has got a following. And if you start looking at those numbers and adding them together and going, holy crap, just between 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9 of us in here, we probably have close to 100 to 150,000 people who follow us. And if we can all agree one time to put the whole of the crap aside and start working together, which is what all the Federation preaches, and do it the right way, there's nothing stopping us from making trucking better than it's ever been. You say make trucking great again. Trucking's never been great because you can't get more than 150,000 truck drivers to stand together. So if you want it better than it's ever been, then you got to bring all the truck drivers together under one freaking banner and say, you know what, enough's enough. We've had it. There's no more division. There's no more this. There's no more that. Shake hands, get over the bullshit, and actually take a stand together as one united front.
Rocky!
Hi, Charles. How are you?
So, that whole learning curve thing, take a little advice. You don't like something, change it. I left MK after 7.5 years last week and went over to Crowsland Trucking. And I've made more money in 1 week than I made an entire month last month. I'm on a load right now that's going 400 miles and it's paying me as a company driver $675.
Hey,
Charles, you're seeing a difference.
That's $1 a mile, more than $1 a mile. You have to stop at $1.
That percentage, that percentage thing, man. I don't know why I didn't go to percentage a long time ago. That load's paying $3,000 to go 400 miles from Thomasville, North Carolina, up to Fort Indiantown Gap. It's another military load. But I'm telling you what, man. You got accountability, right? Accountability.
Absolutely.
I made the dive. I made the jump.
Don't just say accountability. You got to say personal accountability.
Well, you know what I meant, Rocky. You know what I meant.
I know what you meant, but we got to clarify it for those in the back.
And to Matt's point, water under the bridge, bygones be bygones. Here's what I have learned. I've been focused on other things besides this advocacy thing because I just don't see. I guess I can't put on my rose-colored glasses and see the industry ever doing anything to protect itself. Like Audrey said, it's a complicated, slow system, but I do respect, admire, and can support anyone who's willing to put their neck out there to do anything that is positive. As for me, I just decided I waited too many years to worry about Charlie. Okay, take care of Charlie.
Right.
And I did it. I mean, in 2 weeks' time, I changed my entire direction. My book is being published. I got a better job, and I got benefits from day one, Rocky. I got full health insurance, dental, medical, PTO. I got a brand new truck. I mean, yeah.
But, water under the bridge, and I agree. Charles, 4 years ago we tried, man. We were making a headway. Things imploded. Water under the bridge. It's over. It's done. It's past. There's nothing we can do to change that. But the one thing that I have always firmly believed in is people. I still believe in people, and that makes me naive. That's okay. I don't mind being naive on this. But I have a firm belief that, I have had people tell me for 6 months now, I've had them tell me for 4 years, you are never going to get the trucking industry all to come together. And I am a firm believer that you are full of shit. I will do it if it takes my last breath. And the reason I'm going to do it is because I have a 13-year-old boy right now that his whole dream is to be a truck driver, to live the life that I get to experience every day. And I want him to have that. And the only way that's going to happen is if I'm willing to, in which I am, to stick my neck under the chopping block and say, go ahead, drop it. Let's see what happens.
Everybody talks about bringing the trucking community together, protecting the trucking community and all that. You're not going to do it overnight as a whole. It's not going to be done. I don't care who you are, it can't be done. But if you could do one driver today, that one driver is 2 drivers tomorrow, 4 drivers the next day. And eventually, and it may not happen before I pass away, but it will eventually happen. And that's how you do it. Because you're not going to change everybody's mind.
No.
But eventually,
not instantly.
Eventually, everybody's going to wake up and they're going to understand what's going on, and they're going to reach out and figure out how to fix everything that they're doing wrong.
But one of the biggest points is I'm talking to Matt in particular, and you obviously, because you got a pretty good focus here on this. It is absolutely a marathon, not a sprint. All right.
Right.
It is.
This has been,
Right.
but this has been going on for years and years and years. And if someone's willing to pick up the torch and say, I'm going to keep going, I'm going to keep going, I'm going to support them. What I'm saying is simply this. I have found my peace, my inner peace, because I realize how hard it is to take over 7 million people that are in our industry and try to make them understand. Yeah, okay. They're talking about they're going to fix trucking. Everybody does. I know Matt understands, and you understand this, and so does Audrey. Not one law has been passed, and Duffy stood up on that stage and made a comment about a law that he helped draft that he doesn't even understand when it came to DACA, how it was affecting people like George. But we have 0 laws in effect to fix any of the things that Duffy said on stage the other day. Nothing. There's not one.
Why do we have to change laws? Why do we have to change them? Why not just turn around and figure out how to work them to our benefit?
Exactly.
To where we can get everything we want.
Right. That's the point.
That's a great comment, and it's great that you do this. But laws or any talk about laws bring money. That's what it's all about. It's the money part, and people are money grabbers.
Oh yeah,
interpretation.
Oh, no, don't get me wrong. If I can figure out how to make more money than I do today, I'm gonna figure it out. But to sit there and tell everybody we're going to change the laws to where you're going to turn around and make a minimal of this, it can't be done. I don't care who you are. Hell, I don't even think POTUS can do that.
Well, to his point, I think what I was really getting at was they say everything that they've done is going to dramatically turn trucking around. The spot rates are going to improve. Safety is going to improve. Look, safety is a learned habit, right? You learn to be a safe driver. You either are or you aren't. People like me, you, Bird, Matt, we go out there every day, and how do we drive? Safely. We it's not something. I just don't understand how they try to legislate safety and point the blame at specific groups of people all the time when the system isn't training people properly to be safe to begin with.
100%. The devices are not going to make people safe.
Nope.
That's a misunderstanding. And everybody thinks, they preach safety. Safety is just money. You can preach safety all day long, but you can drive I don't care. You can get on a bicycle tomorrow in your front yard, pull 2 feet off into the road, and if you're not watching and safe on what you do, safety is a personal accountability. It's never going to be a highway accountability. Stop using the roads. We're going to make the highways safe. The highways aren't safe. They've never been safe since the induction of the motor vehicle. Nothing that you preach about safety it's all individualized. It is never a group thing. It's never a conglomerate. The highway is I don't care. You can tell me, we've made the highway safe. No, you haven't. What you might have done was educated 1 or 2 more people on that highway so that it's safer. The highways are not safe. They've never been safe. Get that mindset out of your head. That is a personal accountability and how much you've actually learned on the road. That's all it is.
What's funny is with everything everybody says crashes are up, right? There's a correlation with crashes being up and product being up as well. Like how many tons are being moved on a regular basis. Absolutely. And so if you look at the actual numbers of percentages, they haven't changed. They haven't changed. If anything, there was drops. There was drops in certain areas, right? And so I'm supporting exactly what you just said. Is like the accountability is to the actual person, to the actual driver, because the roads, right? Nobody's gonna change the roads. My wife is in insurance, and she says there's always gonna be accidents. Doesn't matter what you do, there's always gonna be accidents. And now, how much money is there to cover accidents? And I'll give you an example. Tesla covers their accidents, and so you guys have heard of Waymo, right? Yep. Waymo accidents don't get actually introduced into the actual accident category because they they created a subcategory for them where they don't have to report it. And there's a reason for that. It's because money's behind it, and they're suppressing the real data of what's happening. Trust me, when it comes to technology and VC companies have money, so there's always going to be guys that are going to try to wreck into those trucks to go out and get money, and there's nuclear verdicts are only going to get bigger. And what's that going to do to the industry? And what if somebody hacks these computer systems? Because we see that everything is hackable. People are hacking shit, and so what happens if the entire industry gets hacked? And then we have what's that? What's one video game that they get in a car and just go smash everything, man?
Oh, GTA.
Yeah, there you go, Grand Theft Auto, right? There's Grand Theft Auto, but in real life.
I believe they hacked one of them over here in Phoenix.
They did.
They did.
In San Francisco area, because they had one get out one of the trolley tracks.
But here's the crazy part is like nobody, like they suppress that conversation because at that point it's unsafe.
Yeah.
Well, and here's the thing: you just hit the head on it. Yeah, I mean, we're all hitting the nail here, and I wish we had a lot more people in here listening to this.
Oh, I do too.
Right now, the safety is a personal thing, not a larger picture
100%.
that they want to paint it to be. It's personal, and if you chase that backwards, that all comes down to education. And we know that the schools are failing right now across the board. And there is really a very simple answer to the schooling system. What you got to do is get rid of these small time. Any school. Mega carrier, any outside influence, get rid of them. Shut them down, be done with them. You don't need a backyard freaking school going on. You don't need a mega carrier trying to run one just to fill a seat. What you need is a school system set up under FMCSA in each of the zones. You drop a school, just like a college, but it's a textile. You drop a school in the Northeast, you drop one in the Southeast, you drop one or two in the Midwest, you drop one in the Northwest, you drop one in the Southwest. And you make it dormitory style where they've got to be on site for the duration of the frickin' lesson. And you increase the level of education from the bare minimum to as high as everything that you can think of with trucking, including bringing in guest speakers that have had 25, 30, 35 years that can talk to these students. That gives those schools a chance with a flunk out rate. Now, the flunk out rate is going to push out the truck drivers that we already see on the road that everybody preaches, oh, well, trucking's for everybody. No, it's not. That's going to push those students out that can't get through the course. And it's going to keep the ones that are actually learning, that are picking it up, that are taking the personal responsibility of being on the road. And you're still, what you're going to get, yes, it'll be a slower process, but a higher level of educated truckers. And if the mega carriers don't like it, you know what? Let them fold under, and we'll make sure we'll find a way to get those truck drivers that are educated, that are experienced, that are worth being out here, that understand it, somewhere into a small fleet carrier or a small fleet carrier that has the ability to grow.
You know, you're saying something about that back in the early 70s and all that in some of these schools. If you didn't get the concept of driving a truck and being able to maneuver it or able to pick out for a pre-trip and a post-trip and all that, they just kick you out. Now it's became a greed, you know, because they know they can get 5, 6, 10 grand out of an individual.
Right.
So that's became more corrupt than anything.
Well, yeah, because it's become a slip seat. All it is a slip seat turn wheel. Is all these megas are turning into slip seat turn wheels. If one flunks out after 2 months, you already got it. Within 2 months, you already got what? Let's see, 80 in the 2 months that have passed the course for a whole whopping week that they can put right in that seat. And this whole driver shortage, that's been a joke. That's been a selling point for ATA and the mega carriers for the last 30 years. There is no driver shortage in the United States of America. We're seeing freight. If anybody's paying attention on the road, truck stops are getting, yes, some are full. I've been through several at midnight that are only half full at this point. You know, and the freight is still flowing. Rates are up, and freight is still flowing.
Well, Matt, I don't think we've ever had a driver shortage. We've never had a driver shortage. We've had a driver retention problem.
Driver retention.
These carriers spend millions of dollars on recruiting, but they don't spend 10 cents on keeping these guys.
Right.
It's easier for them to have more turnover on that retention.
But it costs more to train a guy than it does to turn around and give somebody a 5-cent raise.
Yeah.
This is the only. I'm going to repeat, and I'm good for that. So I apologize, guys. But if this group, and we have quite a few really smart people in here. We've had some smart ones that have already come, that have already left this conversation. These are the people that we need. That is going to start anything is sitting right here, right now. And there are others out there that we need to be all sitting down going, you know what, this is how it's going to work. Erase the division lines, erase the freaking bad karma. I have done it with people that I never thought I could do it. Just let things go. You got to let it go because they still have a brain and they still have something to bring to the table. And you have to be able to sit there and go, you know what, and Audrey, I'm going to use you an example, sweetie. I'm mad at Audrey because something she said I didn't like. Big whoop-de-doo-dah. It doesn't mean Audrey's mad at me. It just means I disagree. But it doesn't mean I shouldn't be working with her because she's got the brain that can bring so much to the table. And just because I'm a little upset at because I don't agree with something specific she says, big deal. I might not agree with Big Bird. I might not agree with trucking history. You've got to be able to sit down. I shook hands with people I didn't even want to shake hands with at Matt's, but when you do it and you put that garbage aside, you realize this could be exactly what we need. But you got to be able to, the nonsense and the drama and the childhood playground BS that goes on in the trucking industry has got to be put to sleep.
Well,
somebody
Matt,
take it out back and put it out.
There's things that you've said that I don't agree with. There's things that I've said that you don't agree with, right? That's part of being grown-ups and us being able to have an opinion and not run off crying and raising hell at everybody. It's being able to listen to other opinions and try to come to a resolution.
Well, and it also gives you something, Rocky, you and I have talked so many times and I learned something. That's where knowledge, that's where you got to sit there and go, you know what? Yeah, okay, I disagree with them, but let me jot it. I'm doing it right now. I've got a book of notes that I'm taking from all of you. Audrey, you, Rocky, Big Bird, everybody that's been in here, I'm writing notes as we're talking. Because I might not agree with exactly what JJ said, but I'm interested. Okay, not that I disagree. I agree with everything he said. But I still took notes because I'm sitting there going, okay, that's something I didn't think about. Let me go look into that. Same with you, Rocky. When you say it's not that we disagree. I have heard anything I disagree with, but I also take notes. And I'm sitting there going, okay, that's not a bad point. Did I overlook something down the road that I need to look at? Or that the Federation needs to look at? Or are we misunderstanding? And it becomes a lesson. I don't know everything Audrey knows. I sure as heck, Rocky, don't know much about a motor as you do. I might not. Big Bird's been out here a couple of years longer than I have. Maybe there's something he knows that I don't. Trucking history. I love history, but there's probably a lot that she knows that I don't. I'm here to learn just as much as I am to lead.
I've learned a lot from her myself.
A leader
from trucking history.
Any leadership that is sitting there and not willing to learn from the people that are following along with it isn't a trucking association. What they are is a salesman. The Federation wants to learn. I know I do. I know Sam does. We want to hear what you've got to say. We want to understand it. And if we don't, we're probably going to call you and say, hey, listen, I caught the comment. I jotted it down. Can you tell me what the heck you're talking about? That's part of it.
Yeah, like Audrey said
of
in the
being a
comments.
leader.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing. We learn more by listening than we do talking. And there's a lot of times that I just sit back, I shut up and I listen. And I pick up things, and I may not agree with 100% of what somebody is saying. And that's the other thing. If everybody agrees 100% with everybody, then we're all the same. And that's what makes us so great as human beings, is we don't all think the exact same way. And we have different ideas and different opinions. And, we take those things and put them together like a puzzle to complete the puzzle, It's
you came over to the you came over to the booth, Rocky, 5 times, and it wasn't. We talked about everything. We talked about the weather. We talked about how the day was going. We talked about your booth. We talked about ours. We talked about the people around us. It wasn't all. You don't have to sit there and talk business 24 hours a day. You got to network. You got to build, and that is part of it. But you got to show some human compassion. You've got to allow it out there, and that human compassion is probably what more solidifies moving forward than anything else does.
Yeah, just like, when we were walking out, y'all were parked right in front of us, our Cupcake and Laura and them were, and, they were grabbing tables and getting everything in Mike's truck and all. We had our stuff in, and, and Mike says, hey, I want to go to the tractor pulls. I got a bunch of tickets, and it was me, my son, and Evan, our guy in Ocala, and it was like, I asked the boys, y'all want to go? And they were like, yeah, I want to go. I was like, okay. And Mike was like, come on, let's go. I wanted to buy the tickets from him. He done paid for them. And he was like, no, I already got them. Come on, let's go. And hell, we went to the tractor polls and didn't say one word about trucking.
Well, and that's the thing.
And it was a great time.
It really, it was.
It was an awesome time.
Rocky, I'm telling you, even with the engines rubbing after 3 days, my ears were ringing and my eyes were closing. I'm going, yep, no, I'm done. I'm just done.
It was tough when those gases and alcohol burners.
No, I got back to the hotel. I laid down. I'm not kidding. It was 6:30. I laid down. I didn't even know it was day from night until 7 o'clock the next morning.
Yeah. Them damn alcohol twin and triple engine ones, man, they were so daggone loud. No, they were crazy, but it was a great time.
And that's what we need to. And that's one of Sam. I love Sam for this. Sam has always made and Sam, Mike's brought it up several times. You got to put the fun into advocacy. You got to bring the people. You've got to be able to laugh and sit there and go, okay, well, we're going to debate this now. It's like an old school fight. If you remember back in the 70s and 80s, you might have got messed up. You might have got ticked off if you're a woman at another woman or a man at a man. You guys had a fight, but at the end of it, you shook hands, you shared a beer, and you laughed about it. And that's what we need to get back to. You got to put away the garbage differences. You got to cut out, and I'm sorry, and I'm going to say this clearly, but you got to cut the cancers and the used car salesmen that are selling false pitches out of the advocacy. Bring the minds together, and I mean all the minds together, and say, you know what? Here we go. Now we've got now we can move forward, shake hands, like Sam says, bring them in 1, 2 a day. It doesn't matter. You don't need 100 a day. You only need 1 or 2.
Yeah.
We need that as
a
world, as a society. Our society is so screwed up. We just need a whole lot of more of that. Some of it is people need to get their asses beat, plain and simple, and then and then be able to sit down, have a fist fight like the old times. You got a problem with me? All right, say it. Let's handle this, and then, like you said, Northman, sit down and have a beer at the end of the day.
And that's the thing.
Probably got a list.
You can disagree all day long. You really can. There wasn't one person that came to the Federation's table, and listen, we had a couple that everybody was kind of dancing on their toes waiting for. Mr. Sand was one of them. But when you came to our booth, it was 100% professional. You got your hand shook. We shared some laughs. None of it mattered at that point. It was just about sharing the laughs, putting it aside, and saying, you know what, you're a trucker, I'm a trucker. You know, it's got to die somewhere. So you know what, let's shake hands, grab a picture. Everybody's smiling and carrying on, and it's a good time. Leave it alone. Put it behind us and move forward. It's the only way anything's going to get fixed.
Hell, we even got Moonshine Mike to come over and do it. And that was one that kind of surprised me.
I didn't see them guys.
Well, yeah, he was running around. I was looking for him all weekend because I knew they were going to be there. And I was, yeah. I made sure to shake his hand, and, yeah, he came in, let bygones be bygones, and took a picture, had a good time, and went on his way.
We have amazing people, and not just the Federation and the people sitting on it right now, but the people that are around us every day. The people in this room right now, y'all are amazing, and I love listening to your ideas. I love listening to JJ sometimes, especially when it gets heated. It's a lot of fun. At Missouri Ben, every time you're in here, Big Bird, Rocky, Audrey especially, you guys have the minds to bring together an entire industry, and you have the passion for it. We can't do this. The Federation ain't going to be able, I've said this 1,000 times, Federation can't do this alone. We can't do it with only 7 of us. It takes a community. And then the only way we're going to do this is with people like y'all.
Yeah, it's a lot of work, and it takes a lot of time and everything. And like you were talking about, you know, you can't get everybody on board. And then just like Chris with Blue Ribbon, they've been on there for years trying to help guys and everything. And guys come in and, you know, want to tell them that don't work. Well, it's working. It works. It's just business. And, you know, I think the biggest problem is getting people to listen and getting people that are willing to change.
You know, even Chris came to the booth, and I had about a 20-minute conversation with Chris, and even Chris walked away with a smile and said, "Yeah, okay, we're kind of on the same page here." So yes, this is great. Social media, freaking phenomenal to be able to talk to everybody. Actually, Rocky, I think I heard you say it once before that this is an amazing place. You know, this is really the place to keep in touch. But when you're face to face, they see the real.
Right.
That's when they see the real. That's when they can look in your eyes. That's when they can read your facial features. They know that you're looking them in the eye, not scattering around the room and chasing squirrels. You know, this is where it all comes together.
Yeah. And just being there, being face to face, and, you know, even, you know, talking to you, talking to Laura, talking to Mike, talking to Sam, and everybody, you know, a lot here on the social medias and stuff. It's different face to face.
Yes,
you know?
It is.
And yes, we go to the truck show for business. Okay.
Absolutely.
I'm not there selling the lasers, but I'm there supporting the people that support me and made what I do possible with the training and the education and the tools, and helping them to sell equipment and lasers and stuff to other people, and help those people get in and get proper training and take their phone calls when they're stuck on a truck that's having an issue and, you know, they can't figure it out. And we all of us as a group of MD guys, that's what we all do with each other. And we network with each other. We're always talking to each other, and it makes us better, right? With this communication that we have, and, you know, and that's what makes us good is that communication and helping each other with problems and everything. So,
and that's
you know,
where you start setting it. That's where you start setting the differences aside. It's not just TikTok. It's not just social media. It's not just a voice. You're actually able to shake hands and put the differences aside and make a difference.
Yep. Yeah. It is. I mean, I met a lot of people, this past weekend that I've never met before, and many that we've had disagreements on and different things that come up, and we
Right.
talk, and our differences get set aside, and we, communicate and just talk and everything. It's just a great thing, I think.
Matt's was a success. I'm not taking anything away from it. Look forward to the next one that we do.
Yeah, it was. It was a great show. Great show.
I just enjoyed being able to meet you guys in person and bullshit with you.
Yeah.
Like that alone was great for me.
No, there
You
was
weren't
a lot of
excited to
joking.
see me.
There was a lot of joking going on at the booth and a lot of laughs. And I mean, I think everybody was about laughed out by the time we left because it was just a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. And the shows are always good to go to, networking and talking with each other. And I know Audrey, I think she said something last night. I was man, what was it now? What did you say? Something about the shows last night, Audrey, when you came up?
Well, I just said there's got to be a cost benefit analysis for shows. For somebody like me, going to Matt's is not worth it. I mean, it's just not my industry, and it's just not worth it. So I've gotten a lot of people who are like, "How come you didn't go?" And I was like, "For me, it's a cost benefit analysis. I hang out in this world is something to do with my spare time. Maybe someday I'll get a real hobby, but it's one of those things where I mean, I just tell people." And I don't care what it is. I don't care if it's a fruit show or, a flower show, whatever your cup of tea is,
Right.
is that, if you're going to go to those shows, you've got to figure in the cost of your booth and your flights and all that kind of stuff. Like, do the true cost benefit analysis of what it is. I mean, I saw some amazing video from there. People standing in line for autographs for truck drivers. I mean, come on, you don't even see that in other industries. Like, that's pretty impressive. Like, you guys should be commended for that. Like, that you don't see that just everywhere. I can tell you right now, I show livestock in some of the biggest shows in the country, and let me tell you, they're not signing up for our autographs. But so I think that's something that speaks to the industry, right? So, like, that's a cool thing, and you've got public engagement. But no, my comment was just to everybody who's like, "Oh, I should have went to Matt's," and I'm like, pump the brakes. Like, you've got to have a plan. Well, you've got to have a have a plan if you're going to do that kind of stuff. So it was just more of a business statement than anything, Rocky.
Well,
no, that's what I was going to say last night. Well, it was
next
for
time
you.
Audrey's going to have to bring a bowl to the booth and just put in a little pen and start taking autographs.
I am not. I'm going to bring. I'll have my little goatee and a little Peterbilt shirt. Is that what you're saying? Just bring one of my goats and put in a Peterbilt shirt. Yeah, like, there you go. I'm thinking. I'm thinking no.
You could do that whole goat massage thing in one of your own booths, and you'd probably have 15 or 20 truck drivers lining up.
I don't think I want to open Pandora's box to that. I'm just not even going to go down that road.
And that's what I was going to say last night, Audrey, was like for people, like you're into the government stuff, and you can teach people how to get things done that way and all. And most truck drivers are not there wanting to learn that. So, like, for you, it doesn't make sense to. For like our MD guys, it does, because they got about 165 leads of new shops and stuff to sell equipment to over the thing. And
I do have a serious question for Audrey. Sorry, Rocky, I didn't mean to cut you off, man.
No, go ahead.
I know that I know how Washington works. In fact, we kind of pass messages back and forth, and I understand that. And honest answer, in your opinion anyway, can the number of people beat out money in Washington?
No.
Not at all.
Not at all. Not unless it would take such a concerted effort. Here's what you're up against, and here's why I say no. And I want you to prove me wrong, Matt. Like, please do not take this as a challenge and not as a downer.
No. I'm going to take this as a challenge, but I really want you. I want to hear what you have to say.
So the answer is no, and here's why. And I put this in the comments earlier when you guys were talking about the megas. The megas control and run the industry because they have political action committees. They're raising millions of dollars and they're buying politicians every day. OIDA has a political action committee. They're raising millions and buying politicians. That is the first thing you're up against is your congressmen, your senators, all that. They listen. They do what I like to call the political posturing or the glad handing, so to speak. They'll listen to you because you're a constituent. But at the end of the day, they vote with their checkbook. That's a fact. The other thing is that trying to get that many people organized in a concerted effort is really tough, really, really tough. And I'm going to tell you, one of the biggest issues that you have in this industry right now is that you have a lot of people who are spreading lies. I'm just going to say it, are not spreading truths. They are spreading lies, and they're claiming they're advocates. I went off on somebody last night because they were lying. They were lying.
I missed it.
I know, Rocky. You always miss the good stuff when I have my meltdowns.
Damn it.
She had a good meltdown last night.
Can,
She had to go get a
can
bottle
somebody
of
send me a screen recording?
Because they were literally lying. They were lying on a live about how a policy works. And it wasn't true. It was literally just being told to enrage the people who were on there. And the people who were on there were ignorant. And ignorant in my world means lack of knowledge. So please don't take offense to that. But that's the biggest problem you have, is that you have all. Social media is a great tool. I agree 100%. It's a blessing and a curse, because one of the biggest problems you have in this industry is that there's so many agendas that are not aligned. If it was everybody was just working for trucking and you each had your own little faction or fraction or focus, that's one thing. But the problem is that you have so many people working against each other. That's problem number one, long before we even get to money. Number two is that there are so many fractions. What do you guys have in common? That's the easy part. If you can get past people lying and people with their own personal agendas, and I've heard this, well, it was my idea. I don't give a crap if it's my idea. I've written lots of legislation that no one on this planet but me knows that I had my hands on, because that's how it works, right? I help craft the policy. I give it to a senator. I give it to a congressman. It goes into law. And at the end of the day, somebody's like, that's a really shitty law. Well, yeah, that's a really shitty law because I helped write it. There you go. I'll own that every day, all day, every day. But the thing about it, is that there's got to be a whole lot less ego and a whole lot of more we go, meaning we come together and we're going forward as an industry. And until you get there, we don't even have to talk about money. We don't have to talk about anything. You just have to you just have to get past that. I think that's your hardest problem. I think that going to Matt's and building a coalition and building a group of people is absolutely what you have to do. And then that coalition of people are going to have to start going after the people who are lying, telling false narratives, spinning tails, and have personal ego to be able to actually make effective change. Then once that's cleared up, then we can talk about dollars, because dollars would come in. I mean, if dollars aren't the issue, if you have credibility and integrity.
Well, and I've always said that's one of the things I've always said, and I keep saying it, and the Federation's a firm believer of it. I think all of us are on the same page, is the fact that if we do this right from start all the way to finish, no matter if it's a big step forward or a baby step forward, people are going to start noticing, and we're not going to have to worry about the money part down the road, because eventually, those that believe in what we're doing are going to start filtering in and providing the backing to what's coming next. I have firmly,
Here's the problem with that. First off, I'm going to give you a little background. I've been out of the trucking industry for 20 years. I've been following it, but I've been out of it because I refuse to play the pay-to-play game. You've got a pay-to-play game with multiple agencies, and you have to pay money to those multiple industries who don't communicate with each other to play that game. All right? At the moment that you let them inside your cab with all that electronic bullshit, they had control over you. And it all started out with that broker on that cell phone every 5 seconds saying, where are you at? Where are you at? Where are you at? I'm 10 miles from where I was the last time you called me. Shut up and leave me alone. And we quit doing that. We just said, okay, we'll get it done. Until you get the subsidies out of these big carriers, the government paying them to hire more drivers, and get the government agencies that are taxing us to death to get the hell out of our pockets, you're not going to change nothing.
But you've got to have advocacy, sir, to do that. That's the thing, is what we're talking about, is you have to have a group of people who are going to go forward to do that.
Okay,
That's what they're talking about.
To do that, and their pockets are bigger than ours.
That's
not just any group. The group has to have integrity. It has to have heart. It has to have a solid line, not in sand. You can draw a line in sand and 2 days later erase the line and make another line in the sand. You actually have to have one written in concrete or stone, which you can't erase that easy. And that's kind of what the Federation's all about. We haven't drawn a line in the sand. We've driven a line in the rock on where our stance is. That our integrity won't be, we're not going to compromise on our integrity. We're not going to compromise on, working with the outside agencies, other communities to help them to bring the truck in to a different standard where we're not looked at third world class anymore. You've got to have the right minds and the right mindset. And right now there's a very limited amount of people that have that. And she just made it very clear.
You speak up about it. We get DOT audited to the point that we can't operate. We get taxed to the point that we can't afford to even buy the fuel when we're done. And they hire some conehead that has never even driven a car, let alone a truck. And they teach him and say he's a professional, and they send him out on the road. That's what's got to be stopped.
Well, and that's what we're trying to stop, sir. We're not looking at, we're looking at education and raising the, when I say raise the bar, we say to raise the bar. I'm sorry, I apologize for that. When I say, we say, the FOPT says that we're raising the bar, that means we're raising the bar on everything. This isn't just a bar on the amount of money that it needs to be made or training. This is the bar all the way across. This is raising the industry up and getting it to a level that is above any level that we've seen yet. And it's going to take time. This is not an overnight thing.
Okay.
Audrey just made it very clear.
What supposed to do for us?
I'm sorry?
Isn't that what OOIDA was supposed to do for us?
Yeah, OOIDA was supposed to do that until the money started rolling in. They realized they can make more money off of selling insurance than advocacy, and they stopped caring about the advocacy.
Okay, what makes you think that's going to happen again?
Because we've made a promise that there isn't a single one of us coming off the road and sitting in an office. We're all truck drivers. We're going to remain truck drivers. Now, there's going to be times where we have to be out of the truck. When we have to be someplace to do whatever it is that we need to do, and we'll schedule that to make sure it happens. But coming out of the truck, we make our own money. We don't need yours. We don't need the whole, $35 a year or $50 a month, whatever it is. That's, we don't need it to provide you with services that you can use or give you a discount on something. We don't need any of that junk. We're doing it without any of it. We're doing it. Right now, you have a T-Mobile discount. You can be a member right now for absolutely nothing and go get a discount on your cell phone service and put money in your pocket. We're putting money back in the trucker's pocket, not taking it out.
I need my fuel to be less than $6 a gallon.
And that's that. Well, and listen, that's something that's going to take us, the Federation, some time, because there are a few programs everywhere. We got approached by one at Matt's, and Sam was right there. We got approached by one at Matt's stating, "Hey, listen, come work with us." And Sam and I both looked them up, and it's like, nope, they're not even. Their website isn't even up and going yet. So, that takes time to find the one that we can, that the Federation can utilize to a point where you get the discount and it doesn't cost you anything to do it. All you got to do is go in. listen, right now you can go sign up to be a member, and like I said, right now you get free, 15, $20 off your T-Mobile service. If you decide to go that way. I'm not pushing it. I'm not a salesman, but that's the fuel programs, anything that we can find. We have a few people that we have talked to, Project 61, for an example. There's several that we have talked to that we're trying to get in conjunction with, that will give you a little discount on working with them or getting their service. We're not getting anything out of it. It's just something we're providing you. Keep the money in your pocket.
Okay, but when I come in on this live, this was about changing the industry, not giving me.
It is about changing the industry, but the Federation has to start somewhere, and starting with you as the truck driver. If the Federation sits there and can tell, okay, right now we have about 200 members right now, but if we can look at 200 of you and say, you know what, we're not charging you any money, but here's a few extra dollars in your pocket because we found a savings program for you. That's going to make you happy. That's going to make them happy. That's going to make you go, hey, you know what? These guys are doing it the right way, the right reason, and they haven't stopped. They haven't asked for anything. They're just doing it. They're leading by example. That is going to spread the word. The word is going to get louder. The more people come in, the bigger our voice gets. Then that's when we get rid of that's going to dispense with the division, which Audrey just talked about. Problem number 1, division. That's going to dispense with it. Problem number 2, personal agendas. We have a bunch of people out here that are lying through their teeth. Well, now you have the Federation who's not lying through their teeth. They're giving you prime examples. They're giving you backup information. They're giving you sources where their information's coming from. Plus, they're providing you with all kinds of money to put back in your pocket, and they're not lying to you. So we just eliminated problem number 1 and problem number 2 just by doing it the right way.
And I just want to kind of commend Matt and the Federation on this, is that having these conversations, slow and steady wins the race, and building it slow and steady and doing it the correct way works a lot better for organizations and movements rather than just kicking in doors and taking names later. There are too many times where I've seen in my 25 years of doing this where people will get very hot-headed and they're like, we're just going to storm in and we're going to do it. And what happens is that it doesn't work. You've got to go slow and steady.
I mean, I'm not trying to be Bobby Buzzkill here, but these arguments that this live I'm in on now, and lives that I've been on with other drivers and whatnot, it's all the same argument, and it's been the same argument for 60 years.
So what would your recommendation be to fix it?
Just until they wake up and realize who the hell we are.
So what
you have to realize that you're the one that puts the key in the ignition. You are the one that starts it up. You don't have to go to Washington and shut it down. You tell the dispatcher, I'm going home. Yes, you may be hungry a little bit. But after 2 or 3 days, they're going to say, hey, we ain't moving our shit. We can't even get the trains to the damn store.
So are you familiar with the term domestic?
Here's the
Can I tell you the problem with that?
Go ahead, Rocky.
When you go home and shut down, buddy, guess what I'm going to do? Rates are going to increase because capacity has been knocked down a little bit, and I'm going to go make the money.
Exactly.
And then when you come back out, okay, and the other say 50,000 or whatever, and then the rates drop back down, I'm going to go home. And then when y'all shut down again because you're not making enough or you don't think you are, I'm going to go back out when y'all are home. That way I can go make the money.
Okay, you're going to go right back out. You're going to make money. And you're going to have brokers are going to refuse to pay you because you said something that pissed them off. The fuel prices are going to keep going up, and you're going to have to go back to surcharges again. And they're not going to pay you your surcharges. How do you break the cycle?
Here's the problem.
Let's talk about the surcharges really quick. If you're hauling brokered freight, okay, your fuel surcharge, you know what the cost of fuel is today, okay, and you know what it's roughly going to be tomorrow. So put your rate in what you need for today for that load, knowing what the fuel cost is. All right. Now, fuel surcharges are for long-term contracts, 1-2 year contracts that protects the rate and brings the fuel surcharge up as fuel goes up to help cover that. So they're hauling the freight for the same rate, but they're putting the fuel surcharge in so the truck is still making the same money.
Okay, but when they take that surcharge and puts it in their pocket.
No, they don't, because when a broker gets a load from a shipper today on the spot market, the shipper says, hey, can you get this moved? How much? Okay, they want an all-in rate. The shippers don't give a shit about fuel surcharge.
Exactly.
What is this load going to cost me to move my load of purple widgets from here to there today? And you need to know your numbers so that when you talk to that broker, you can say, no, that 1,500 is not enough. I need 2,000 with fuel where it's at today. And if it doesn't work for you and you can't get to 1,800 or 2,000, say no. Hang up the phone. Don't get on Facebook and everything else and bitch and whine. Move along and get another load.
Okay. And I want to add in. Hold on, Redneck. I want to add something. And Audrey, I think there are two things that you need to keep in mind when everybody starts yelling shutdown. One, there is something in this country called domestic terrorism. If you actually shut down the food supply and you have that many trucks shut down where food supply and medical supplies are getting to the point where it's sparse, the government will interject. And if you think you're going to keep your DOT numbers because you were found out to be one of those individuals who preached it and actually did it, you're probably going to lose everything. Number two on that, now hold on. Number two on that is the fact that truck driving, and this is my perspective, this is how I was taught, this is how I was raised, this is how I will always be. Truck driving is an act of service. It is a freedom job, absolutely. They've done everything they can to micromanage it, but it's still an act of service. If you have the ability as a human being to drive by any number of houses, hospitals, retirement homes, nursing homes, I don't care what it is, schools for that matter, and understand the fact that your truck, no matter what's on it, could be supplying any one of them, or drive by a hospital and especially a children's hospital of all things, and go, you know what, I might have something on this truck that's going to the warehouse that's going to save one of those kids' lives. And you have the ability to sit there and go, you know what, I'm going to shut my truck down for 3 days, 5 days, a week to get their attention. How can you look in a mirror knowing that you put a child's life or another human being's life on the line just to get the government's attention? I don't understand. I don't understand the thinking behind people that can sit there and say, well, we're going to shut it down for a week and they'll get their attention. What you're doing is killing people. You're creating chaos.
They're not getting the rent they need to make, and the companies that they work for are shutting the heaters down in their damn trucks. You can't idle the truck or any of that. That's not hurting anybody. I mean, do you want to know the Bobby Buzzkill? I'm just stating facts.
Do you want to know the most interesting thing about trucking from a policy standpoint? You want to know the most interesting thing about the trucking industry from a policy standpoint? You guys hold more cards than most other industries. You want to know why? Because you are part of critical infrastructure. And that has been since this country was built. They put in the interstate system for military loads to move across the country. Trucking was one of the original points of critical infrastructure. One of the original industries for critical infrastructure. And in hardly any of these lives do I ever hear anybody talking about that. You want to talk about the power that you have? Let's have a conversation about what happens if critical infrastructure doesn't work. That's the conversation you need to be having, not stomping our feet and crossing our arms and saying, I want XYZ dollars a mile, like what Rocky was talking about, know your numbers, know that kind of stuff. But let's have real conversations about, hey, OPEC, why is my fuel $9 a gallon in California? Because I'm critical infrastructure. I'm taking medicine to children's hospitals. I'm taking food to senior citizens. have that conversation and phrase it as you're the solution and not the problem, and I will guarantee you will get a lot further.
I love that. I'm writing that down. Thank you very much for that, Audrey.
And quit being the
And I was
victim
going to
all the
ask
time.
too.
Quit the victim mentality. This has got the victim mentality, and the us versus them bullshit has got to stop.
Absolutely.
And I was going to ask him, I think I'm not looking at my phone, something, who it was it Redneck?
Yeah.
What do you do to lower your cost?
What do I do to lower my cost? I sold my trucks and I built a garage and I fix people's cars now.
Okay, so when you were in the truck on the road, what did you do to lower your cost? Did you slow down some to get better fuel mileage?
98 cents a gallon. If I made $500 a day, the truck made a profit. I made a profit. I could go to bed at night. I didn't have to drag my ass dog tired to get to where I had to be. And I could pay my bills and not have to kill myself to do it and sit there and run numbers. I mean, you can either sit there and run numbers all day or you can hold steering wheel all day. When the running numbers takes precedent over the running the steering wheel, you've got to run 10 times harder to get done what you need to get done.
So let me ask you this. What other business in the country or in the world, other than the trucking industry, what other business runs their business like a real business and knows their numbers?
I run that by me again. Somebody tried to call in when you was talking.
What other business in the world can run their business without knowing their numbers? It seems that majority in the trucking industry, these guys are running a business and none of them know their numbers. If you go to a franchise location that makes hamburgers, I guarantee you the owner of that business knows how much every freaking packet of ketchup cost him, knows how much every napkin that goes out the door cost him, knows how much every bun is, every leaf of lettuce. They know their damn numbers. But for some reason in the trucking industry, these people do not know their numbers, yet they got into business. And that's why, for me, I have never had a problem in this business since 2003, because when I didn't know my numbers back in 2002, from 96 to 02, I went bankrupt. It was not the government's fault. It wasn't the fuel price fault. It was nobody's fault. It wasn't the brokers. It was mine because I didn't know my numbers. Okay, so after I filed bankruptcy and lost 7 trucks, and I came back out and rebuilt my business, okay, business being key word there, I had to know my numbers. And when I knew my numbers, I knew what I needed to make and what I wanted to make. And that's how I became successful, was by running my business like a business instead of just fly by night holding the steering wheel, drive down the road.
I think you missed my point. My point is, you can sit down and you can figure your numbers out, but because everything changes so much and so often, you have to spend more time running your numbers instead of driving your truck.
Not really. If you figure what your fixed costs are, those are the same. About the only thing that changes is fuel.
The fuel changes, and the insurance changes,
and your maintenance.
Insurance changes once a year on average.
Mine was $800 a month per truck when I had my truck. What's your insurance now?
Insurance now varies. It could be $12,000, $14,000 a year, and some of these new guys are $60,000 a year. There's a lot of variables in that.
But Rocky, but to your point, you have that fixed cost at your beginning or your renewal, and so you know what it's costing you every month as a fixed cost. You put in your average miles that you run a month, and you divide it out, and that's your fixed cost on your insurance. That many cents or whatever it is per mile per month on, say, 10,000 miles a month or 12,000 miles a month or whatever you're running. That fixed cost that's a static fixed cost unless you change something mid-year. And if that's the case, when you get that change, then you go, okay, this is what it's costing me now. You know, this, I got this much for this many months and I run this many miles, so this is what it's costing me per month. That's a static fixed cost.
Right.
And if you know those numbers and you don't haul anything for less than that, and know what your revenue, you know what your revenue needs to be able to be profitable and be successful. It's
the problem is you got guys like Redneck who's it's the victim mentality, and oh my God, I'd have to sit and figure that out every day. No, you don't.
It takes like 20 minutes a month.
Yeah.
Is it's not always a victim mentality. You take these companies, and I'm going to use one company just as an example. You take Prime. They convince these company guys to go leave. And they don't tell them anything about, you know, how to run a business or what these numbers are. They just say, hey, you know what? You're going to collect a bigger paycheck. And they think that's great until they realize that per mile, they're not making more money. They're making less. But the ones that don't look into that, jump into a truck on their own, and then they turn around and they fail 6 months later because they're not educated.
Whose fault was that they got into that lease, though, Sam? Sam, was that Prime's fault the guy signed the lease, or is that the guy that signed the lease's fault
No, it's
for not learning about the damn industry he's going to get in and lease a damn truck? They do
I'm not
no
saying
research,
it's Prime's
nothing.
fault. I'm not saying it's the driver's fault. I'm just saying they're not educated. They're being tricked into doing something that they know nothing about.
The problem is if you're going to go in, and I don't care if it's a lease purchase, owner op, and buying your truck or whatever, if you don't educate yourself on how to run business, on how to do the math, it's your own damn fault if you fail, not anybody else's.
Right.
Well, I mean, I don't blame anybody for shutting my trucking company down. I did that on my own. It was still turning a profit. But it just wasn't worth my while to spend all that time at night running over papers and running over numbers that are going to change in 2 days.
Can I say something, Redneck? It would take me about 15 minutes per truck a month to enter my stuff in to the program to know all of my numbers. It literally took me 5-6 minutes a week for each truck.
Okay.
That's not a lot of time. That's not a lot of time.
If you don't mind me asking, what do you haul for free?
I had 26 years in hauling cars and specialized lowboys with truck chassis. And then in 2016, I bought some dry vans and took a few trucks to Landstar and left the auto carrying.
Okay.
And this is where we talked about. This is where the federation's got the idea, and this is, you know, this is going back to education. We don't have the schools the way they're supposed to be. They are rock bottom, bare minimum. We just looked at one for my wife. My wife wants to go out on the road with me in about 4 years. There's one right here in Kansas City. Had a long conversation with them. They will literally teach her the bare necessities to put her butt in a seat. Me, I'll end up spending 6 months training her about everything for the open road. There is too much to be, you can't do it all in 5 days. There's no way possible. It has to be a program, and this really should be, you need to take the state's hands out of it. And you need to make it a government sanctioned program across the board. California can't cheapen it. Wisconsin can't cheapen it. Florida can't. There's no state that can sit there and go, nope, we're going to do it this way. No, we're doing it this way. One setup across the board, and do it like a tech college. Teach them, you know, when they get out of this thing, if they get through it, if they don't flunk out, they will know business. They will understand how a trucking company operates. They will understand the engine. They will understand the brake system. They will understand what it means to haul 80,000 pounds. They will understand everything, every aspect of the trucking. We already have, I know we're not Europe, Europe runs a 6-month to a 1-year program before you're even allowed to touch the steering wheel of a truck on an open highway. They teach you everything from engine to maintenance to, business. They teach it all so that when you get behind that wheel, you have the knowledge that to operate that truck in every possible way. Now, that is what we need over here. We don't need seat fillers. We need educated individuals behind the wheel that know everything from the business aspect to the mechanical aspect to actually what it means to drive safe on the highways. Enough with we all talk, and everything that we're talking about is education. That is 90% of the problem in the industry is education. And I can say the same thing about those who are complaining about how much money they're making every single day. Oh, I only make this and I only make that is a self-accountability deal. If you're only making 42 cents and you work your butt off, you're a professional, your on-time rate is up, you dress in accordance, you keep your truck in accordance, and they still won't give you a raise, that's when you've got to sit there and go, you know what? I deserve better. I look for better. Charles Claiborne was just in here a little while ago and said, you know what? I deserve better. I went and found better. He's getting paid better on better mileage. All it takes is a mindset that says, I don't have to stay here. You don't have to stay where you're not appreciated for the professionalism and the level of it that you provide. That's a self-accountability thing and an education thing. Everybody whines, oh, I ain't making $1 a mile. Add it up. If you actually make 56 cents a mile and you're getting full benefits and you've got a life insurance policy under your belt and you have the 401k, you're probably making $1.50 a frickin' mile and you just won't look at it. Sam's a prime source. Listen, Sam's a prime source. I pick on him all the time. I pick on him this 3 days. I said, look, right there's the guy. Don't tell me it can't be done. He works, 1,500 to 2,000 miles a week and brings home over a $2,000 paycheck week every single week. Why? Because he chose to get his hazmat. He chose to get into specialized, and now he's making a good paycheck and doing it right. He's a professional truck driver. You get paid for your experience, and if you're dumb enough to stay at a company where you're only getting 23 cents a mile and you're a professional, dress the way, act the way, be on time, and take care of your equipment, and you're still not getting it, then you move on to the next one. There are mom and pop companies all over this country that want professional, true truck drivers, not steering wheel holders, true professional truckers.
Seat warmers.
And Matt, what did Charles say? It took him 17 years to figure it out.
It took him 17 years before he finally said, you know what, I've had enough. It shouldn't take you 17 years. It didn't. If somebody's mispaying me and I'm giving them 100% or more to their company and they're mispaying, I'm telling them goodbye. See you later. Have a nice life. I know what my 26 years is. I know what my on-time ratio is. I know how I take care of a rig. You can eat off my floor, my truck, in the last 27 years and be safe doing it. Maybe not after I got out of a mud hole, but you know what I mean. I would eat a sandwich, but I'm not saying that for everybody. If you don't know your own worth, if you don't know, it's not just cents per mile, but knowing your own worth. Now, if you're one of these ones that, and I'm going to say it clearly, that gets out in a baggy, nasty pair of sweatpants, wearing a pair of sandals that doesn't look like you showered in 15 years, and your hair's all a mess and holy t-shirt, and your truck looks like Trash Pit Central, and you're only getting 35 cents a mile, you've got absolutely nothing to complain about. Be grateful somebody's giving you 35 cents a mile.
You're getting what you deserve.
Enough with the moaning and the groaning and the whining and carrying on about what I owe, what I deserve. And you know what? You deserve what you are.
I just looked it up, and this is for everybody in the background that's watching the saying that it can't be done. Last week, I did about 1,300 miles at most. And I'll guarantee my check, when they put it out later on today or early tomorrow, will be over $2,100. That doesn't include the free health care that I get, the 401k that I put into, or anything else that I did. And if you equate that, that's well over $1 a mile.
So don't tell me it can't be done. We've got a member of the federation that's doing it every stinking day. Every
and
single
I'm a company
day.
guy.
And
they
don't tell
think
me
it's
there's
not out
I'm
there
not an
because they're not
owner-operator
getting
or
it.
elite.
And you can't tell me that the money's not out there for an owner operator. If it wasn't, I wouldn't be as successful as I am. Mike would not be as successful as he is. Laura would not have 8 trucks running as successful as she is. There's money there. You just got to be smart enough to understand that sometimes if you're going to be an OTR driver, and I'm going to make this very clear, you don't get to go home every week. Freight rates move in the country. First it's in the Northeast, then it's in the Southeast, then it's Midwest, then it's Southwest. They move. And if you're a true truck driver and what you're after is money, that means you move with the freight rates. Your truck is moving all the time.
That's what I'm doing right
That's
And that's
how being
part
a
of the
truck driver
problem.
works.
They
Or you
only
just
want to
get-
run certain areas and then bitch when the rates are no good in that area, but yet they're not willing to leave that area and go make money. And it's almost like they forget that the damn truck is on wheels and can go. It can roll. It can move to different regions, different areas.
What they want is they want trucking a 9 to 5 local position. And it doesn't matter. You can be handed a regional where you're home every other day. They're not happy with it. You can hand them, whatever it is that you want to hand them, and they're still not happy with it. You need to change your mindset on how it is to be a freaking truck driver. A truck driver is an act of service. It doesn't mean you get to be home every day. Anybody who sells you that you'll be home every day or every weekend, full of crap. You're driving a mechanical machine every single day. All it takes is one hiccup and you are shut down in freaking Arizona when you live in New York for a weekend. One hiccup. And the way most of these truck drivers operate their trucks with no pre-trips. You can walk through a truck stop tomorrow. 90% of the hoods don't even pop. They just jump to the driver's seat and go. You're going to be broke down on the side of the road. You wonder why you're sitting there for 8 hours.
Yeah, Rock.
Yeah, you want to make money, go do stuff like Big Bird does. He lives in Florida. He's out in California and Louisiana and all. He's out there where the damn money is.
Or
doing
the
what he
other way,
does.
the other thing you do is you go out and you find your own customers. If
There
you
it
don't
is.
want to
Thank
run
you,
all
Missouri.
over, find your own customers. Run for a consistent rate all the time. And I think it was Christmas Blue Ribbon said it one day, and it's the truth. There's the people that live off of 100% the spot market and load board. And those people are a commodity. You are a commodity. Rates change, freight volumes change in every single city and state across the nation, sometimes throughout the day. So if you're in those areas, you are a commodity. And when there's less trucks than there is loads, you're worth more. When there's more load or more trucks than there is loads, you're worth less. If you don't like doing that, and I built a business, and granted, I started out with brokerage and had enough customers where it's like, and running the same guys all the time. So I started building a fleet. I offer a service, and I'm not a commodity. I offer a service, and I make really good money.
You have brought that up. You actually talked about that in a live that I was in with you. How you're not running the spot market anymore. How you built your own contracts and the whole 9 yards. Missouri's another prime example of a success.
I've never ran the spot market. I've never used a broker. In all 47 years.
Oh, there's another success.
It can be done. You just got to get out and you got to put the time and the effort in to do it.
There it is.
If you're going to ask me how to take and even do a load board or brokers or anything like that, I don't have no clue.
Oh, I can run. I'm leased on to another carrier. Thank God right now, because with everything else we got going on with the Federation, I think my mind would explode. So but they've got, it's yearly contracts. They re-up all the time. I've got contracted freight I run on a regular basis. Do I run broker loads? Yes, I fill in to get me out of an area into a new one, and I don't have a problem with that, because my contracted freight that I haul basically covers all my expenses. That all I got to worry about is my fuel cost. But you got to be, if you're not smart enough to learn and pick up what's going on, then and education is the problem. We're back to education again.
Now, I know this is going back a few steps anyway, but back to what Sam had said about Prime, they do have business courses, and they do have that there for them lease drivers. It's the ones who are willing to take and listen, and the ones who take and use it. C.R. England's got it, Swift's got it, and Werner's also got it too. It's just the ones who are willing to take those.
There are some out there that do.
Knowledge.
But I would just use the Prime as an example as far as their leases and all that.
I know you were, but I was adding more to the educational part of it. Some of these guys who don't, they just jump in the truck, keep the seat warm, and run down the road because, they think they're making a couple dollars or whatever it may be.
The industry can be better, guys. You're hearing it. There's 9 of us in here. You're hearing it from all of us that the industry can be better. Again, Audrey made a very valid point. You listen to Audrey speak, and everybody really should be paying attention. Problem number 1, and we know this as a federation, that division is a major problem. We're trying to handle that problem. Problem number 2, the personal agendas and the amount of lies that we've got out here in the industry. Those of us that are in here right now are dealing with that on a regular basis. It's almost like you're fighting an uphill battle with 8-ton boulder on your back, because it's, every time you dispel one lie, 10 more are out there, and it's a pain in the butt to try to keep up with.
Well, see, that's the other thing that I run into is where I've been out of the business so long, things have changed so dramatically, I can't keep up with all of it. There is no way, and like you say, a lot of the information out here is total bullshit, and some of
it's like walking into a used car salesman's lot, and they're trying to sell you a 1973 Chevy, and by the time you get to it and wipe the dust off, you end up finding out you got a Pinto. And that's what it is. You have some of and the trucking industry is so well known for this. OOIDA has used it. Several organizations across the board have used it. They continue to use it. It's some of the very best used car salesmen in the world are in this industry, because the education level, the self-educating level of most of these people is low, and they run off of emotion instead of education. And that's the problem. We can educate until we're blue in the face. It's whether or not you're going to actually listen and take in the information.
And trucking history put one here in the comments that it rings true. Some of the biggest creators on social media are the ones spreading the biggest lies.
Well, here's the thing. They're not all lies. And I want to clarify this. Hold on. They're half truths. They're enough of the truth to get you emotionally to react. Exactly. They're clickbait. And what happens is, when they get enough of those emotional reactors, they put them in a band. They put them in this nice little group. And then they put a fence up around the group. They put a do not enter sign on the front. And then they dig a big old moat all the way around that fenced in area. And they're not going to let you in unless you 100% agree with everything that they're pitching. because all they're looking for is the monetary value of your emotion. They don't want you intelligent. They don't want you learning. They don't want you self-educating. They want you emotional, because by emotional, they can control you. We see this in this industry time and time and time and time again. It's nonstop. And the biggest, worst salesmen, the biggest, best salesmen, I should say, are in the trucking industry, because emotion is a truck driver 100% of the time.
Here's another problem that I see a lot, and Audrey uses this often because, you know, involved in ag as well. You got all the ag people bitching to all the ag people, and she calls it preaching to the barnyard.
Right.
Sitting here and bitching at each other and not educating the public, educating other people. We're just sitting here bitching at each other, and it gets nothing done.
Well,
and that's why I made the comment earlier about taking the fact that trucking has that uniqueness that you are considered critical infrastructure. You were one of this country's first caveats to that, and taking that and reframing how you're making the ask, right? Like, you're going out to people and you're saying, hey, we are critical infrastructure. We're bringing the medicine, the food, all the things, and making that, meeting people where they are. I'm a woman. I travel all the time. And do you know how many people come up to me and go, will you stop at truck stops? I was like, yeah, I actually trust stopping at truck stops way more often than I would at some creepy, you know, neighborhood gas station. Because I know that if I get out of my car and I'm in a business suit and some big creepy, disgusting man comes up to me and straight, you know, not that anybody would try to kidnap me, because Rocky knows how that would end. But y'all know how that would end. But anyways, I mean, if somebody tried to assault me or whatever, I start screaming, I guarantee you there's going to be 6 or 7 drivers there in about 0.2 seconds. So yeah, I stop at truck stops, but there's still very much this negative opinion of drivers. And so framing that from the big scary driver to somebody who's providing critical infrastructure and all that, and making that palatable to the general public is going to get you a lot further. So Ben's right. I do use that a lot about preaching to the barnyard. And in this case, it's preaching to the choir, however you want to phrase it. Getting out there and connecting with the public so the public understands what your position is and where you guys are coming from. That's huge.
Well, and that's what, and the Federation, our logo for the Federation, from our seats to the communities we serve, we stand on it. You know, we didn't just pull that out of thin air as a selling point. We actually are doing it. It's not just our community that we're focused on. And this is where a lot of people are getting upset with us, because, yes, are we moving forward? We are absolutely moving forward. Is everything designed, towards the trucking industry? No, it's not. Half of our design is focused on the communities that we actually serve. We need to find the reconnection. Oh, hold on. I got a timeout.
Audrey, I just got a warning. Something you said was defined as hate speech. I don't know if you need to go out and come back in or what, but yeah.
It was you started to use the hard R and it caught it.
We focus on the communities and the neighborhoods that we serve as much as we do the trucking industry. Okay. And that's where the Federation is a lot different than most of the other organizations that we got out here. We're not, if we do something for trucking, and we are every day, we're trying to come up with something new. We also pick organization. It could be something coming down the road. We've got a long ways to go. It could be a fire department raising money for new gear. It could be an EMS company looking for a new ambulance and they're raising funds. It could be somebody that does a community outreach program for the homeless, or whatever it is that we can bring in, we're going to bring in, because what's going to happen is those individuals are going to start seeing truckers in a new light. They're not going to look at it, it's going to bump up from, they throw, urine bottles and buffalo bags all over the place, and they're going to start seeing a professionalism come out of an organization that says, oh wow, okay, they're not like that. You know, they're doing this, and it's not just the federation; it's the people that support us at the same time. We cannot take and do any of what we're doing without our industry and those that believe in us following along and helping us along. We couldn't have done what we did for the West Virginia Children's Home without people like Rocky, without people like Buck, without, you know, all these individuals that stepped in and helped get this out there and donated out of their own pocket. We did it as a group. It wasn't just the FOPT. It was those that believed in what we were trying to do and accomplish. And now we've got one community project that is going to look at the truck drivers and go, wow, you know, okay, well, you guys aren't what we're seeing on, you know, as bad as what we're seeing on TikTok. That's one step forward. It might be a baby step, but it's still a step forward.
We already see I followed you back. So.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
More about this. But yeah, I mean, when I started in the industry, fuel was 98 cents a gallon. It was cheaper than gasoline. And most of that goes into the oil companies. The oil companies control what you pay for the fuel. Even with the state taxes, if they dropped off the state taxes, the fuel would still be $2 a gallon.
But, you know, and that's where, you know, I understand everything you got that you've been talking about, Redneck. I really do. And I'm not disagreeing with anything that you have put out here. In fact, I don't disagree with anything anybody's put out so far. But what we need to do is start at the bottom. You know, you can't build on sand. We need a concrete foundation. And honestly, it's the truck drivers that are going to be that foundation. So you've got to start at the very bottom. And if you don't start at the bottom and start recognizing, okay, we got to get the communities and our community to come back together. And those numbers are going to dictate how we move forward. They're going to be, okay, well, you know, we've got 300,000 members. You know what? That's double what OOIDA has. Now, if we can pull that together, the voice just got louder. Not only that, but now the communities are starting to see that the truck drivers aren't what they say that, you know, what TikTok and social media perceive them as. So now they're coming in behind us. Now, they might not be members of the Federation, but their numbers add to ours. Yeah. And at that point, we've got numbers. Now we got to look at, okay, well, we did it right. We built it right. We're pumping in the positivity. We have gotten truck drivers to start shaking hands. The communities are supporting us. At that point, that's where, and as Audrey said, that's when you start looking at the money. You don't look at it now. You look at it much later down the road when you put the time and the work into it.
Well, let me finish what I started to say. I brought up the fuel being as low as it was. But the main thing at that time, when you pulled into a truck stop, it had a restaurant.
Right.
It had a place where we all could sit down, shoot the breeze, relax for a few minutes, catch up on a little paperwork.
Oh, I absolutely agree with you. But those changes those changes aren't going to come about without the numbers. Without, when people start seeing, and I'm only using the Federation. I'm not saying that there's not a better organization out there, because I won't do that. But using the Federation as an example, when you start growing to the point where your numbers are 6, 7 digits, and you start sending, Sam, myself, Mike, we start sending letters out, Laura, all the letters are starting to come from the Federation, and we'll go and listen. We want to see sit-down restaurants, and, we can notify TA, we can notify Petro, we can, but then they go in, and right now they're looking at us going, oh, well, they only got 200 members, man. We ain't got to listen to them. That's going to go into trash. But when they start seeing 6 digits of people that are following with the Federation, they're starting to recognize, oh, wow, yeah, they've got numbers. Numbers to them mean something. You might not be able to shut down. I don't believe in shutting trucks down. But can we sit there and say, you know what? TA might be, they're unresponsive, they're not reacting, or they told us to go, up the creek without a paddle. Can we do something about that and maybe get their attention? That's a possibility. I'm just giving examples. I'm not saying that's happening, because the one thing Federation doesn't do is there's no promises here. We just do and get it done. But numbers start making a difference. And again, autonomous trucks. Do you want to stand against autonomous trucks? I do. But without numbers, we can't. You can't stand against that and make a stand and make your voice heard with 200 people. You can, but they're going to laugh. 200,000 people, now you're starting to get a little attention. 2 million people, now you really got attention.
Well, guys, I got a customer, so I got to dig out. You'll be seeing me again.
I'll look forward to it, Redneck. You be safe.
All right,
guys. We have a chance, guys. If people say there isn't one, I can prove them wrong right now just looking at my dinner table. It's loaded with the connections that the Federation made just during MATS. And that's one show. We made a difference for children in one show. The Federation isn't a joke. I know people are laughing and they're saying, this, that, and the other thing. You've heard me speak for the last 20 minutes. You've heard Sam, or the last 20 minutes, whatever the hell it's been. You've heard Sam. You've heard Sam talk. Sam's not dumb. Sam is one of the most intelligent people that can find. He can find the bottom line and the simplest answer to about everything. So he's brilliant, and then you've got other brilliance like, with Mike and the way he can do research and find what he can find in as fast as he can find it. You've got Laura, who's absolutely phenomenally intelligent when it comes to small carrier fleets and how a driver should be treated. You have intelligence here. It's here. You have some of the biggest hearts and the biggest minds in this group, and we all have standards.
I think the other thing that would help would, and I know Cisco and I have talked about this, it's we're all trying to make a change in our industry. I think one of the biggest things that each and every one of us can do individually that's going to make the biggest change is start with, when you go into a truck stop, you see somebody with a cup of coffee, buy them a cup of coffee. Say something nice. Like the other day, I'll be honest with you, I was in Barstow and I got up at like 4:00 in the morning, went in so I could take off. And the subway was open, which, like all you guys, like we just discussed, we're sick and fucking tired of Subway.
Oh, you ain't kidding. I've had about enough.
But you know what? At 4:00 in the morning, I smelt that warm food, and I went in there.
Yep.
And I thanked that gal for being there. She's like, well, I'm just here doing my job. We're here 24/7. I'm like, no, you don't understand.
Yep.
There is not many truck stops that have warm food 24 hours.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for getting out of bed and working all night. Thank you for being here. And like her whole demeanor changed. She went from just, going through the motions to her. She was smiling and more upbeat. And we start treating other drivers like human beings.
There it is.
And we start mentoring drivers and saying, hey, I hear your struggle. Let's talk. Let's cut out some time to sit and talk and see how we can help each other. And that in itself will make a bigger change faster in this industry if everybody just starts doing it.
Well, Missouri River, I don't know if you're interested or not, but we actually do have a mentor program. It's on our website, and we take anybody who wants to be a mentor. We put you up there. You write out a little blurb for yourself so they know kind of who you're talking to. If it's something that you're interested, you want to be a mentor, brother, welcome to have you.
and I would be interested, and I do it all the time. I've helped. So, like I said, I'm broker, and I've helped so many people get their authority started and get going in the business and helping. And finally, I'm like, well, I'm making all these other people money, and I've still got all these loads. So I started building my own fleet, and like that Chris that was in here a little bit ago.
Yep.
He's actually one of my brother's best friends. He's my younger brother's best friends, but we talk on a daily basis. And his cousin just got his authority, or bought his first truck and is leased on and working towards getting his own authority. And I think we can make a bigger, faster change in the industry. And that's how you unite people, is by doing that.
You're 100%. I agree with you. There isn't I won't say there isn't a day. That would be a lie. There are a few days that I wake up and wrong side of bed. I don't want to talk to anybody at the coffee bar. I still hold the door for you. I just might not say hello. But typically when I'm pouring a cup of coffee, if a fellow truck driver, where are you headed? Hey, you having a good drive? Something stupid, quick, off the cuff, just to start a conversation. Usually it lights up to about a 2-minute conversation. And that's all you got to, and that's all you got to do. It makes their day.
And it truly, and there's so much mental health issues out here in our industry too. And sometimes that one little act of kindness can talk somebody off the edge.
Yeah.
I think a lot of drivers don't understand, or people that have been out here for a while, that if we don't help, who is going to? It's not going to be the government. And even after we all retire, we are still consumers. We are still driving around these people that are out here still driving. And I look at them almost as my kids. Why would I not want them to do better? We will be dependent on them in the supply chain to keep us supplied with all the goods we need. And we have to feel safe with them driving around us and our loved ones and friends. So why would we not want better?
Well, even when we get out of the truck, we're still going to be mentors. It doesn't stop. When you've been in trucking any amount of years, it never comes out of your system. It's stuck in your blood. You're
I know.
Even when you get out of that. Yeah, me too. When we get out of the truck, it doesn't mean we stop. That means that we just take it to a different level and become that full-time mentor instead of the part-time mentor. And we start showing, what we learned for 30, 40, 50 years that we've been in a truck. And
how do you get out of the truck? That's what I want to know.
I don't want to get out of the truck, so I don't know. I can't answer that because I really don't.
What do I do when I get out of the truck?
I don't ever want to. I told my wife, I told her the other day, I said, I'm looking at 50 years. She said, for what? I said, driving a truck. I said, I want to hit that 50-year mark. She said, you ever going to retire? I said, I'll retire when the tires are on fire and I'm going over a bank at about 81 years old and I'm screaming, hallelujah! Because that's the only time I care to go out. I love it that much.
What, Eugene, England there, what was he, 84, 85? Him and his wife still was out here at 84, 85 years old running.
Yeah.
My aunt is 80 years old and she still drives. This year will be 52 years for her. Not because she has to, because she wants to.
She wants to.
Yep.
There's a freedom of the open road. Even with all the stuff that's going on in the world, there is still a freedom of the open road. It's still enjoyable. I've told somebody there at Matt's when we were down there, I said, listen, I still look at trucks like I did when I was 8 years old. There's still something about them, the purr of the engine. There was one down there that still had the clappers on the top of the exhaust, and I can hear them clapping. And I'm going, man, oh man, I get goosebumps up my arms. And my wife looked at me and said, what's the matter? I said, just listen to that. Just listen to that. They fired up an old cab over, and all you can hear is boom, 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 boom. And I'm going, oh my word. But there's just something about
that. And just see a kid walk by one of them trucks.
Yeah. Yeah.
It don't even matter if the chrome is shiny on it or not. If it's one of them other trucks, they're like looking at it like, whoa. I mean, just like I was. I mean,
and I'm still that way today.
We used to go to the truck shows up in Michigan, up there in Flint when they had them. Man, that was the first thing as a kid. I wanted to go up there and blow that air horn, man. And there was lines just to blow the air horns.
Yep. And that's something that we need to do too. You know, there was a program a while ago. I'm not sure even if it still exists. I need to look into it. But there was a trucker pen pal thing that goes back several years that I believe, you know, we need to start reinventing it and getting it back out there and getting to the schools and getting to the high schools. It's something I would love to see and let them understand, you know, just to sit there and see a bunch of 8th graders maybe go walk around the truck and ooh and ah and pull the air horn. I could sit in a chair all day and just eat that right up. That'll fill my cup right to the brim.
Oh, yeah.
You know, we have, like I said, we have a real shot, guys. I know we got a lot of used car salesmen out there, some of the best. We have a lot of lies. We have a lot of misconception. We have a lot of misinformation. It's a heck of a battle to try to do all that. I would love to see 3 or 4, 6 or 7, I don't care how many organizations, come to the point where everybody is grouped together at these truck stops, working hand in hand and really changing the industry without the me, or, you know, something in the background getting done, you know. And I think it's, and I really think it's still, I really believe it's possible. And it's just, like I said, I'm a little naive, but my heart's in this and I can't let it go. So I'm going to fight all the way to the end if I have to stick my head out and watch it get chopped off.
Well, it looks like the Cisco's in here. We need to talk about broker transparency.
Oh, we are not talking about broker transparency. We are not talking about the pitfall of broker transparency. Can we just leave that at it? Oh, my word. Okay, I got to go now before he gets up into a box.
He's already in.
I'm already in the box.
If you say the word, Cisco, I'm going to hunt you down. I'm going to run my truck right through your living room.
You should have been in his live last night and listened to this guy. Now, some of that stuff that he was doing wasn't really wrong in a way, but there were some fishy things that was in on them that I questioned.
So
did you get the location of his house? Did you get the location of his house? I might need that in a minute.
Well,
you're talking about Hobby? Are you talking about Hobby?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's an interesting cat, man. I'm gonna be honest with you. He's an interesting guy.
But see, he is in a way triply on what he's doing.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
He's on that gray line. Now,
but Bird, this is the industry, and if we're gonna kid ourselves that it's something else, then we're kidding ourselves, right? I mean, if you're thinking I
know, and
that's not where the majority of people live, is on that fine line between right and wrong, then
I know. But see, the trip leasing has been in there since the deregulation, all the way back to the ICC. And a lot of these guys are using that, but a lot of them are using it in a whole different concept, too, in a way. And how, that's the thing that I've questioned and looked at them. I'm going, when I see some of them switch them MC numbers out and all that, I'm going and looking and seeing the reasoning why. And you know, and looking at the safety score and all that, and some of them are new and some of them are like, whoa, how is that truck still out here on the interstate?
Mm-hmm.
Well, and that's where we have a problem with that. We have more people wanting to utilize that. You know, we see that's all over TikTok. I find it hysterical that, you know, you see them posted up and they're, oh, well, you know, look at this crap. but yet you posted it on the internet. But did you call FMCSA and send them the video of it?
Yeah.
Because
exactly.
if you sent them the video, they'd be shut down tomorrow.
Exactly. But
You're more interested in monetizing
be,
off
right?
of it than actually doing anything about it.
That's where we go with the clickbaiting again.
Well, and this is what I told I told him in a DM, and I just told him, I said, look, I think what you're doing is very interesting. I'd really like to see some numbers on, what it is that's actually happening. He says, yeah, I'll definitely share that with you. And I just told him, I said, the problem is, I said, is that, and I think this is where a lot of people are going to have problems with what you're doing, is that you're writing that line because you're just like 2 inches away from being the fraudster. You're like 2 inches of being from the fraud that's happening in this industry. So it's like you're just kind of butting up to it. Maybe not necessarily crossing the line, but you're butting up to it. And that's where people start getting like, oh shit, like what's really going on here? You start getting the big question marks. He's like, yeah, I know. He's like, I know. But most of these fucking people don't understand the business of trucking anyway. And I go, I agree with you there. I can totally agree with you there. I mean, there is a big, gap of education that a lot of carriers just don't have. You know what I mean? And so, but I told them, I said, this is where you're getting the pushback. This is where people are going. The people who do understand, and as you could tell, just through questioning, we were able to just, deduce exactly what was happening. You know what I mean? And so I told him, I said, this is the part where I think that you have to be super duper careful, is that you're right there, man. Like you're right there. And who's to say you're not even on the other side of that line, And he's like, well, I'm not. He goes, I can prove it. And I'm like, yeah, no, I get it. Maybe you can. I mean, that's great. But you can see where people are fucking flipping out on you, right? And he's like, no, I totally get it.
Yeah.
Is he trip leasing?
He's
doing
trucks.
something similar to that, but he just has a multi DOT numbers. He's just got a bunch of DOT numbers. He has a bunch of investors that have kind of invested in what he's doing, and they've been able to pull 31 trucks up out of basically out of the ground, and they are basically, and he kind of offshores a lot of the back office stuff. The people who all they do, their only job is to find drivers. Like he's hiring people to just find me drivers for these people, or for these trucks. So drivers. I mean, what's that?
He's hiring SAP drivers.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah. But like he was saying, and he's probably right. Well, how many drivers aren't on the SAP program out here? You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
So,
but see,
there's that.
He's kind of doing the same thing, though, like C.R. England and Werner and all them are.
Yes, exactly.
They're running for Walmart. They have a contract with Walmart and a distribution center and all that. But and then he'll take a shift a truck if they need it. He'll shift a truck from one point. If it's sitting, he'll shift it over there to that point. Which basically he's doing the same thing we are. We have 7 different customers. They have their own trucks, but when they need us, we shift drivers over to that point.
Exactly. Exactly. You're just filling in the gaps, man. And there's money in that shit, though.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I get it. Like, I get what he's doing. It's just interesting. Like I told him, I'd really like to, connect with you and just kind of see what you're doing. He's like, I'll be totally transparent with you. He goes, I'll show you. I was like, well, let's take a look at it. I mean, I don't know enough to pass judgment. I mean, let's put it that way. You know what I'm saying? But it does sound, I think it sounds what everybody, putting the question marks up, right? I mean, we all kind of understand what's happening. And if he's doing the fraud, we'll just send that one guy after him, man. Fuck it.
Oh man, he got heated over that shit.
That one guy, huh?
That pastime come in there, and he got it on it too. Like, whoa! And then it got threatening him. I'm like, whoa, man, you're gonna.
Dude, I got like 3. I got 3 red flags on that live, man.
Did you?
I did, man. Yeah, they made me kick pastime out. They made me kick Chris out. That guy, poor Chris. Fuck. I was like, dude, you said like 3 words, and then you got red flag. you don't know TikTok very well.
I mean, he.
What's that, Ben? He must have got a call or something. But yeah, that was pretty. It was a pretty good live. What did you think, Bird? Did you like it?
Yeah, I mean, it was very interesting. And see, I had a feeling that's how some of them guys have been doing it, because he kept going back to ego, and he kept going back to how the Chicago and the California guys are doing that kind of stuff. And see, I've been investigating this. I won't lie on it, because when you see somebody is posting, somebody switching out these numbers, you know, and I question, I was like, okay, what did you do about it? What did you took a video of this guy doing this? What did you do about it?
Well, that's the problem. They don't do anything.
Yeah.
What they do is post that up, and the next thing you know, and you see 8,000 comments. Oh well, this is wrong, and this is what we're having a problem with. Okay, well, you had the easy solution. 2 clicks, and that video would have been sent to FMCSA, and then within 24 hours, they'd have been shut down.
Yeah.
All you had to do was show the video, send it to them.
Right, and if they are doing it the right way, and if they are trip leasing, and that is the case, then they're not in the wrong. But if they're doing it in a shady way, then yeah, both them numbers need to be shut down. And worse, but then the thing of it is, when they do shut them down, they're taking the child or uncle or whoever it is, like that guy was saying, they go and get another MC or a DOT authority, and boom, they're back at it again.
Well, and that's where the Federation has made a point that you need a unique identifier, which means you can't use the same address. If they pulled an old DOT number that they shut down, and you've got 3 more lined up at the same address, then DOT should be catching the fact that they're all at the same addresses, and going in and going, okay, you know what, we're shutting them all down. And what we don't, and a lot of these, we've seen it in brokers, we're seeing it in carriers. What they use is a Google address on an abandoned building where 50 different people are using it, and all it takes is one officer to go down there and go, okay, nobody's living here, but we have 50 addresses at this location for brokers and transportation companies. You know what? I think we're going to shut them all down.
Mm-hmm.
And several of them several of them numbers that I went and done out there in California, these folks are in 700 to $1 million and $0.7 homes with a big swimming pool in the back of it, and the whole doggone works. I mean, that's how far I've gone to investigate, and I haven't even called.
No, you're not wrong. And
you know what I
talking about. That she made a point, if it actually happens that way, what we have, and she's, not for nothing, but Laura has made a point several times, especially over the course of the Federation. We have a very major enforcement issue. And the reason why we have, and one of the reasons we have this enforcement issue is because once COVID hit, they decided, okay, well, no more spot checks, no more face-to-face interviews anymore. I'm going to shut up here in 1 minute, BH. There's no more interviews anymore. There's no more face-to-face. It's all computerized. It's not hard. You can send logs and paperwork from Timbuktu, Australia. You got to get back to a real enforcement.
But I think part of that is the problem within the FMCSA itself, and that's the systems, the technology.
Damn it!
Actually,
I was going to say that.
They set the stage to get rid of the MC numbers back in 2012 with MAP 21. They tried it in 2015. They couldn't do it. They have not kept up. And there again, that's also what you're talking about, enforcement. No different than the English language proficiency. That has been a rule for how long? If every time, if every time somebody got a ticket or out of service for English language proficiency violation, that they should have went back to that state. How did he get his license? That should have been investigated right then and there, and we wouldn't have this constant churn of all this fraud and all these people that don't speak. I mean, it would have still been there, but not to the extent that it is now. And there again, just like Laura said, enforcement. A lot of times the federal governments and the state governments can't interact properly with the technology. I mean, we saw that a little bit on the new rule for the DOT physical and the upload. A couple states couldn't do it.
Right.
You know, we have too many people trying to have their hands. You know, too many chiefs. You know, too many.
Well,
So
not only that, and I'll piggyback off of what Trucking History is saying. I mean, and you're absolutely right, Trucking History. I want to say you were 1,000% correct because I was going to say the exact same thing. But just to kind of piggyback off of that, it was just basically, well, also just the way that I think that also you get to a point where like the out of services and the way they're calculated for small carriers, you know what I'm saying? The way the FMCSA does this, how they umbrella every company under the same umbrella, you know what I mean? You get to a point, and maybe Buck is here, he can maybe attest to this, is that I think you get to a point where your actually insurance would be cheaper by just getting rid of the MC you're running under right now if you have a lot of out of services or you have issues, and just getting another MC and starting over as a new company. Your insurance will be actually lower. I know it's difficult because they do look at the owners of the company, but I mean they can open it in a family member's name. They can, you know what I'm saying? I mean, even I think that causes a lot of people to kind of go like, oh shit, like we got this thing against us now. My insurance is high, and maybe it's just cheaper for me to just go get a new MC and let's just start this thing over, and I'll put it in my wife's name this time, or I'll put it in my kid's name this time.
I mean, yes, that's true to an extent, but then you turn around and these insurance companies have a national database of, like they keep your name on record. So you could go out and start a new DOT, but the moment that you get ran through that system, they're going to see the other DOT and see why they either declined it the first time, because these companies keep records of you specifically and your DOT number. So they just type it in, search it into a system, and that's it.
Yeah, you would need to open it in somebody else's name, which isn't impossible. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, it's not impossible. So, I mean, I think if the FMCSA also looked at the way they score the things and, how the insurances are using it. And I mean, just, you know what I mean? Like kind of make it fair for the smaller guys, because like JJ said, everybody's pretty much said, I mean, the mega carriers are pretty much one of the, the most, the unsafest on the road, right? But something happens to a smaller carrier because they don't have the numbers to offset those percentages, they're up shit creek,
Yeah, and I'd say that there's like mega fleets like JB Hunt, right? That's for the most part a safe company out on the road, because it's 1 in every 32 units is the odds of one of their units actually getting into an accident. 1 in every 32 trucks, which is significantly better than your average 32 unit carriers, 50 unit carriers, 100 unit, even 1,000 unit carriers. They're running at a 3% accident ratio out of all 26,000 units, and it keeps decreasing every year. So I mean, like this year alone, they had 766 accidents for like not year to date, but this past year. And then the year before that, they had 810. So they're cutting it down significantly every year, and that's just due to their safety requirements and the safety programs that they're bringing in. But then you have companies like Swift who aren't necessarily getting better, and if they are, you're not going to see those safety scores fluctuate much until they get below the threshold. So I mean, JB Hunt's actually performing better than even your 10 unit accounts are, but they have the resources to do so. But they're also hiring those 1 year drivers. So it's like, what are they doing different than the Swifts, those companies?
Sure. Well, I mean, that would be kind of interesting to be able to dive into that and see. I mean, but I mean, I'm just saying, like, that was kind of my point, and I think kind of what Trucking History was saying. I mean, I think it's just FMCSA all the way around. Just it doesn't really, like, I think the pace of business outpaces the enforcement. or the regulation part of it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Well, we need to get back to a pre-COVID enforcement agency, not the one we've got now. We need to get back to actual enforcement agents on the ground doing actual, showing up at the actual sites where their so-called business is being run out of, and this is both carriers and broker side, and start really looking at that as the problem. And right now with funding the way it is for FMCSA, I mean, 500, well, Mike and I and Sam, I think a bunch of us were talking about it at Matt's. They have a funding of like, I want to say it's $1 billion, and half of the $1 billion is going out in grants. And when you look at the grants, it's like, this is kind of a joke. The grants that are being offered by FMCSA are, you could take that grant money, reinvest it in actual operatives that are on the ground, and you would eliminate, probably close to 50% of the waste and garbage that's going on right now.
Yeah.
So you think regulating this industry more than what it is the answer?
Not regulating. I'm not saying regulating.
Or
I'm saying putting boots, because here's where you got an issue. You've got an issue now where, like I was just saying, somebody in Timbuktu, Australia, and it could be a broker, and honestly, it can actually be a carrier. Timbuktu, Australia files for a license here in the U.S. They use a Google address of some abandoned building that they zoomed in on and went, yeah, that's not livable. And but it's got a Google address.
Sure.
They use the Google address. They set up all their things, which you know as well as I do, costs about $350. You got an MC and DOT number. And before you know it, they're operating over here, but they're using illegitimate truck drivers to do it. And it's a major problem. So you have an overseas company that has no legitimate address here in the U.S. operating in the U.S. and DOT in the first 6 months will send them an audit. And pre-COVID, they didn't send you an audit. That what they did was they sent you a message that said, we'll be at your location on such and such a date. Make sure you're there with your equipment. Now, what they do is they send you an email and they say, well, we're going to do an online audit. You send them the information from Timbuktu, Australia, and minimal. It's basically minimal. You get minimal information and they're okay with it and they clear you. Okay, well, that's a problem because now you're still, DOT's sitting here going, well, they're still here in the U.S. They're not here in the U.S. Nothing about them is here in the U.S. But you have this going on a regular basis. Now, if a DOT enforcement officer does that same audit in that first 6 months, which everybody knows you got that audit, it's a safety audit. That's what you have to do. So in that first 6 months, a DOT officer shows up at that so-called Google address and recognizes it's an abandoned building with all the windows blown out, no doors, and half the roof is caving in. They're going to be able to sit there and look at that address and go, okay, well, this isn't the only company operating under a DOT MC number on this Google address. Instantly, that DOT officer can sit there and go, okay, out of service, out of service, out of service, out of service, out of service. You just eliminated the fraudulent companies that don't even operate here. They're somewhere, who knows where. You've eliminated. They're gone.
I don't disagree with you, but the problem is last year, every month there were between 4,000 and 4,900 new MCs given out. And now, what percentage of our, there's not enough, they don't have enough people to do what needs to be done with what's already there, as far as regulations.
That's because the government doesn't look at us, and this goes back to something that Audrey was saying. They don't look at us as a critical infrastructure anymore. They've stopped looking at it as critical infrastructure and realize that we're so torn apart amongst ourselves that we're not standing together. So they're taking all the funding that used to go to the enforcement side and utilizing it in places that probably should never be utilized. So yeah, obviously they're gonna, and because of that, we know how used car salesmen operate, and especially with associations. Why wouldn't outside companies take a look in and go, "Oh wow, that is a major hole in the loop." We could fit right in there, and for the next year and a half, draw all kinds of money in funds. Don't have to pay any bills. We'll just shut down and keep making false, MC and DOT numbers until they catch us.
Matt, so what you're talking about is nothing new. This has been going on for such a long time. It would blow your guys' mind. It happens in Denver all the time. And I say that specifically because when we started out hauling end dump back in the early, late in early 2000s, like you could run an end dump in this town and make money. And then there were individuals and that would go buy a truck, piece of shit, be put out of service, told they couldn't be in business anymore, and they transferred it to their brother. And then next one, it was their uncle. And this has been going on for a long time. And there's been a shortage in enforcement for, I would say, at least a decade, at least in my experience in this state. And I'm very well involved with FMCSA here and the local state patrol. They've been short for at least a decade. And so that's another problem. And the only time FMCSA comes to your door to see you is unfortunately when somebody's been unalived in an accident. And the only time they figure out that you are not occupying that space or it's somebody else's address or something like that is after somebody's already been unalived. And that's not how the process should go. But they have the same issue, and I keep saying this over and over again. They have the same issue that we do with staffing our trucks. There's just not enough people that want to work. The people they pick from, they're trying to choose the best candidate possible to put behind a gun and a badge, just like we're trying to pick the best person to put behind the wheel, and they just don't exist anymore. They just don't.
I know it's wishful thinking, and I'm really happy that you jumped up because this is really where you shine. This isn't where I shine when it comes to the enforcement side because I've heard you speak on this, and it's phenomenal listening to you. I'm glad that you jumped in here. I'm just going to let you take this side of it.
Well, sorry I had to jump off because I had a driver going through a level 1 inspection. And of all the things they found, and y'all can make fun of me, you can chew my ass, you can do whatever you want, I don't care. I'm not happy about the violations we got, but how the fruitcakes would anybody have ever known on a pre-trip inspection that the nut and washer on the bottom of an airbag on a trailer was non-existent, it was gone? How would you know that? I want you guys to tell me. I'm not frustrated because I was written up. They found it and I respect that. But this is one of those stupid things like that, that keeper rod that goes through there is so long. Yes, is it a safety issue? But you would literally have to launch that trailer for that to come apart. But the nut and washer was missing on the bottom of my airbag. And I got written up for it, but I'm thinking, which one of you actually checks for that every time you do a pre-trip? I'll wait.
Nobody. You would have to be on a crawler looking at and on a pre-trip. That's a yearly DOT inspection, not a pre-trip.
It's not. It is not on the annual inspection. It's not on the annual inspection.
Well, but I'm saying down in a pit, you can see something like that. But the only way you're going to do that is if you're literally on a crawler from the back of the trailer all the way to the nose of the truck, and that's going to take you an hour to do that inspection if you do every nut and bolt, grease fitting, airline, no matter what, it's going to take you an hour.
Now, so, it is embarrassing for me to say that because I feel like we have a lot of pride in our equipment. But now I'm going to circle back around to a conversation that I believe Buck was talking about earlier. And I know he's not here to defend himself, and that's fine. But would you explain to me why the insurance would use that against a motor carrier?
I don't have an answer. Not without Buck.
That's what I'm saying. This is why some of these, don't get me wrong, I do believe there is life savings life-saving activities when you go through a roadside inspection, only because it's another set of eyes looking over your equipment. Sometimes they do piss me off, and I fight with them frequently, and I make my guys take pictures of their violations and send them to us for two reasons. One, if I choose to fight it, I will, which I have no faith in data queues. Most of you heard me say that. But the other thing that I use that for is now it's a driver training. We're going to have a safety stand down. Now I got to look at all my fucking trailers because I'm like, oh my God, how many of my trailers are missing that? And who would have known? Like, you can do an annual inspection and that shit can fall off of there in the next week and you'd never fucking know.
Right.
It's not part of a pre-trip.
Let me ask you this. Who do you have greasing it every so often on your routine maintenance?
That trailer's due for greasing, actually. We grease once a year.
Oh, just once a year?
On our trailers, yeah, because they don't get used. They're not pulled every single day.
Right.
So I see what you're saying, but they don't, I mean, our trucks are greased once a month. Every time they get serviced, well, they get serviced every 13,000 miles. So they get greased every 13,000 miles. But our trailers get greased once a year.
Okay. Yeah, I already know exactly where I was going with that. Whoever the one was that greased it, that should be who you got appointed to be watching for all that stuff,
Well, and I agreed. And now, like, it's going to be a stand down at our company, like, hey, even our drivers sometimes grease trailers. Not very often, I'll tell you that right now. But, if they do, it's something to remind them to say, hey, while you're underneath there and you've made this whole effort of crawling underneath the trailer, we've been written up for this. Now we got to really focus and make sure we understand what the hell we're, looking at. Because we would have to have the whole stick with the mirror thing to try to look at that every time we did a pre-trip. It'd be crazy.
Yep, there
was that's what happened today. I mean, like I said, having a roadside inspection can be a good thing even when there's violations that are involved. I had a driver put out a service because the steer axle airline had a slice in it. Well, it wasn't there when he left the yard. So it happened in the road, and we all know people, there's those tire gators all over the road. People dump their shit all over the road. I mean, he could have ran over something and he didn't even know it happened. So that's part of the reason I have an issue with, hey, the insurance company is going to use roadside inspections against you. I think that is absolute bullshit, because there are some things, a light bulb goes out. The driver would never fucking know. They're supposed to go out. Like, they happen when they don't even know. Like, you have a tail light, you're running down the road and it goes out. You're not going to jump out every 10 seconds to make sure all your freaking lights are working.
But how many four-wheelers do you see on the road that have one headlight?
Oh, yeah. And it's a high beam. It's a high beam headlight. That's it. Oh, you're right, Bobby. You're absolutely right. And that's what I'm saying. I mean, and the other thing about that is they need to show us a little more grace, because these roadways are so dismantled that they tear apart our trucks so bad. It's not an excuse not to maintain them, but come on. Anyway,
we're supposed to check our trucks.
I know. It's crazy, isn't it?
At least he didn't get pulled over for
we still sitting over there for, Sam?
On.
They didn't have my load done. They redid the load, so I got to sit here and wait for them to get done. I guess they're waiting on samples now.
Oh. It's okay. You could have my Coal City.
Hey, but good news that was on the trailer. My tractor got a level 1 and they were out of stickers because it's the end of the month. Did everybody see that? It's the quota is almost up.
Well, you gotta do like certain trucking companies and pay off the state cops.
Well, I buy them drinks whenever they're around, but we don't go to many of those events anymore because I can't deal with the people. Oh. And then my other driver can't fucking read a map with both hands and eyeballs and everything else. And why call dispatch and ask for the route? He ends up on one closed road, and I go, dude, you know 16A is always closed this time of the year. Well, yeah, but it looked like it was the shortest distance. I'm like, you're kidding me, right? So then I give him the route, and he makes a left turn at the wrong place, and he goes, well, this road's closed too. And I go, because you turned back on 16A on the north side. I'm like, maybe you should park and go to bed and start over again tomorrow.
That's an option.
Somebody else has a salty.
What did you say?
It's a driver we know. He's like the epitome of Murphy's Law.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
It only cost me $120,000 in a time span of like a year and a half.
Wow.
And that was with 3 GPSs.
Oh. I asked him, I said, what are you using? And he goes, my road atlas. And I was counting the mile markers to come up with the shortest miles. I go, you know, you could have dialed 10 digits and had the dispatcher tell you a lot faster than you doing any adding and subtracting. But what do I know?
Hey, they got a Bristol in there right now for you.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead and hook up to DB94 off the scale. It's all good. We just got to finish the paperwork for you.
All right. Thanks. Woohoo! I get to do some work today. Time to flip the camera so I don't get in trouble.
Oh, Matt left. I wondered why it got quiet.
I know, right?
Probably heard a container driver on here.
Yeah, you container drivers.
A durka.
And Bobby, when I get home, I'll upload this live for you.
I appreciate that because I do need to work on it since somebody wanted to keep me out till after 10 last night.
Because, you know, this is on my personal account. I didn't expect it to get this big.
Well, you know, you're a superstar.
Apparently so now.
I need the video of Sam being thrown under the bus when he had to speak.
I'm still waiting for that one because I couldn't hear Sam, but I know he was like teary-eyed, and I still would like to hear it and see it.
He's a Metro.
Yeah, I got to get all that rounded up too. I got to get a lot rounded up from the weekend.
It was a good weekend.
It was.
Did you have a good
time? A lot of that was done
it?
on mine.
Yeah. Did you have a good time spending time with Ellie last night?
Oh, I did.
Did she have a good weekend?
She did.
Good. Otherwise, next time, Bobby's going to steal her.
Time for your appointment in the morning.
Can't come to Matt's. I got Ellie.
They changed it to 9.
Nice. If you're sleeping out there, they'll probably still take it at like 6.
Yeah, they will.
It's a great place to sleep, though.
Yep.
Under a bridge in Cleveland, Ohio.
I get to play troll.
Look, I'll sleep under the bridge versus drive to Cincinnati traffic right now.
Yeah, I seen this come across. I'm like, no way. Seriously?
my God, it's going to be April. Is everybody ready for April?
No,
Hell
ma'am.
yeah.
Tax
No,
time.
ma'am.
Tax time.
I have 3 weeks, ma'am.
Tax time.
I have 3 weeks and I am not ready.
I just have to sign ours, and I thank God for my cows. That's all I say. Thank God for my cows.
We're going to bring your cows down to the next mats.
I think we should. I mean, it'd be like a McClown petting zoo.
Yeah, y'all.
I was trying to get him to join in on us.
He won't.
Would have been funny.
You have to have a spine to hold up the jewels.
Yeah, well, you know.
Does anybody want to do my boutonnieres for me? Because I don't want to.
You're running out of time on that too, ma'am.
That's what I said. I have 3 weeks. I'm running out of time. I'm not ready for April.
Me neither. Sam's knee surgery is scheduled.
For what day?
Well, we're going to try to go with April 24th to give me time to move around loads.
Well, that is the day before the big day.
I know. In case you were, I was saving his knee surgery in case you needed like a person to show up for your bachelorette party.
I'm not even having one of those. I'm not having a honeymoon. I'm not having a bachelorette party.
Come on, where is your sense of adventure?
I'm marrying Mike.
Fair enough.
The only one I know that can get pulled over for not having a blinker on for more than 0.9 seconds. Okay?
I think that is ludicrous.
That was definitely something else.
But, so this is why, okay, Laura, you missed it yesterday morning. He was running his mouth about how I am a speed demon and I'm going to get pulled over.
Can I take that one?
And then he left me on the highway and took off, so I just kept putting my way across just to pass him with a cop next to him, talking to him.
Oh,
I love Karma. Karma is so wonderful.
Yeah, I'm sure that was probably what pissed him off the most.
Is that I got to see that? Yeah, probably. It's definitely not the first time I've seen him pulled over.
And unfortunately, hopefully it's not the last, or it is the last, but what's everybody's prediction on what the fuel's going to do this week?
Well, according to crude oil, it should go down, but I don't think it will.
Here in Ohio, it's teetering. It's between $3.49 and $3.79.
For diesel?
No, for gas.
I was going to say, don't make me happy about running a tanker out there to fill it up.
I did see it's like 4 something here for diesel. Because I've seen 4 something and then I've seen 5 something, so. Yes, $4.94 right now at QT.
It's over here in Arizona.
It's $4.80 a gallon here.
Better than $4.94.
$4.80.
Yep. There's one station that has it for $4.40 a gallon. They're the dirtiest fuel stop at that exit. It's awful. I don't like my trucks going in there. It's gross. But for 40 cents a gallon, guess what we're doing?
How's the weather out there, Sam?
I'm sweating, just chilling.
It is 77 here too.
It's my favorite number.
77?
77.
My late husband's, it was 3. 3 was his favorite number.
3's my other one, but 77 is the name of the number of our first truck.
Mm-hmm. Why did it get named 77?
I don't know. It just ended up that way because it was like they assigned you a number at the pits, at the gravel pits, and so they assigned him 77, and it just kind of stuck. And then we're like, we're just going to stay with 7s.
Yeah?
So we did.
I like that. In the EEG world, all of my floors so far have been on 7.
That's interesting.